Good morning, Tracy. How are you? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, folks. How are you, Tracy? Hi there, folks. Welcome to my live stream. My name is Jim, and I used to be a type 2 diabetic. And I love saying I used to be. Got out and walked this morning. Awesome. Good morning, folks. How are you today? Just getting tuned up. I'm going to start doing 8:30 in the morning every single day at 8:30 in the morning. That way it's like clockwork. How does that sound, Tracy? If I just always do it at 8:30 in the morning, every single morning, 8:30 in the morning, is that the way to go? And how's my volume sound? Is this too loud? Am I yelling? Good morning, folks. Kevin, how are you? 9:30 your time, right? Oh, I'm good. Awesome. Hi, Kevin. How are you? Good morning, folks. Welcome to my live stream. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. Hey, Trace, how does it look like I am like all up in this camera angle? Does it look like I wish I could zoom out a little bit, but it won't let me. Does it look like I'm just like all up in your grill? How about that? Jeez, man, I'm like getting further and further away. Is this better? Yeah, it's getting a little better. I have my phone on the side here. I can see myself. But man, that's like, I feel like I'm like forever away. Can you still hear me over there? Hi there, folks. My name is Jim, and welcome to my live stream. I used to be type 2 diabetic, and I love saying I used to be a type 2 diabetic. I used to be, because I used to be. I don't have it anymore. I was a 12.2% A1C. I am now a completely unmedicated 5.1% A1C. I've been unmedicated for 14 months. Well, February 14th of last year was technically the last time that I used any medication. So it's been quite a while since I've been medicated. So with that aside, I'm going to talk about everything that I do to achieve that. If that is something that sounds interesting to you, if you are sick and tired of just being on the medications, then stick around for this live stream. I'm going to tell you everything that I do to achieve that. And more than that, if that's something that you think that somebody else that you know or care about could benefit from, then share this live stream with them. And let's get them healthy just the same. There's a lot of people. This is a movement. Good morning, Tanya. How are you? This is a movement. We're starting to take off. We're starting to get more and more people to figure this little piece of the puzzle out. Guess what? You have control of your health. How about that? You have control of your health. Let me do another round of introductions for those that are just now joining. Folks, welcome to my live stream. My name is Jim, and I used to be a type 2 diabetic. And I say I used to be very intentionally. I love saying that. I used to be a type 2 diabetic. I have reversed my type 2 diabetes. I'm in remission from my type 2 diabetes. I don't take medication for my type 2 diabetes anymore. That's because my doctor told me I don't have to take medication anymore. Because I used to be a 12.2% A1C, I am now a 5.1% A1C. However you want to word it, I don't have it anymore. And I love doing these live streams and telling people exactly what it is that I do to achieve those results. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you, or better yet, if that's something that somebody that you know or care about could benefit from, then share this live stream with them. Knowledge is power. There's nothing that's going to, hearing somebody's story isn't going to hurt anybody. So share the live stream with them. And maybe, just maybe, they're able to, or you are able to, say, I used to have type 2 diabetes. Right now, Tanya, who's in this live stream, is somebody who was listening last year, around April of last year. And now Tanya is able to say, I used to have type 2 diabetes. And I love that. So let me do another round of introductions. I'm waiting for the crowds to kind of filter in. We're getting going kind of early. By the way, for those of you that are curious, I'm going to do live streams every single day at this time, 8:30 in the morning Mountain Standard Time. So 10:30 in the morning Eastern and 7:30 Pacific. I'm going to go live at the exact same time every single day now. So if this is something that sounds interesting to you, just know that I'm going to do a live stream Monday through Friday at 8:30 p.m. or 8:30 a.m. Mountain Standard. So 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. And if this is information that you think is, and 9:30 Central, if this is something that you think is beneficial, then do me a favor and tap the like screen. If you just start tapping the like screen, that is huge. That is the way that you tell TikTok that you want this content pushed out to the For You page more. So let me do another round of introductions for those that are just now joining the live stream. Folks, welcome to my live stream. First off, let's get energized. Welcome to my live stream. I used to be a type 2 diabetic, and I say that I used to be a type 2 diabetic very, very, very intentionally. I have reversed my type 2 diabetes. I am in remission from my type 2 diabetes. I don't take medication anymore for my type 2 diabetes because my doctor, my endocrinologist said, you don't have it anymore. You don't need to take any more medicine. And I don't know how you want to word it other than that. I don't like the word cure, but if you want to use that, so be. I don't have type 2 diabetes anymore. And I love being able to say that. And I do these live streams every single day and tell people exactly what it is that I do to achieve that. And we are getting a movement of people who are now able to say the same thing. So if that is something that's interesting to you, if that is something that you think other people should know about, then share this live stream with them. If that's something that's interesting to you directly, then stick around for this live stream. And with that being said, let's jump right into it. By the way, we are live across multiple platforms, which is super cool. There are a number of people watching us on TikTok as well as Facebook. So Twitter as well as TikTok. Twitter, say hi. If you're on Twitter right now, I see you. Say hi. Wave your hand, and there she is right there. There's one right there. Hi, Mickey. How are you? Good morning from Twitter. So, folks, if you are on Twitter, ask a question. I will throw it up there. If you are on TikTok, I can throw TikTok comments up there. What's up, Keith? How are you, brother? Okay, Keith is, I was just saying that there's a growing number of people that are getting healthy doing this exact same thing. Keith is one of them. Tracy is one of them. Tracy's husband is not using any more insulin. That's awesome. Renee, how are you? It is pretty cool. Okay. So, folks, what did I do to achieve that type 2 diabetes remission? The very first thing that I did, well, I started focusing on the root cause of the problem. Raz, how are you? Good morning. Good morning. Over on TikTok, good morning, Raz. The very first thing that I did was started focusing on the root cause of type 2 diabetes, which is insulin resistance. Okay, can y'all see that little thing behind my head? Insulin resistance. Now, what is, Glenn. Glenn says, type 2, I need help. Glenn, you're in the right place, man. You're in the right place at the right time. And Glenn, just so that you know, I do a live stream every single day at this time, 8:30 in the morning Mountain, 9:30 Central, Tracy, 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific, every single morning. Come and watch this live. As well, folks, you'll find me at The Real Jim BBQ or The Healthy Pitmaster. You'll see the profile that you're watching me on right now is at The Real Jim BBQ or The Healthy Pitmaster. You can find me on every social media platform there is by looking for that. Okay. So with that being said, insulin resistance, Glenn Gray, by the way, number 34, that is my favorite number. So Glenn Gray, 34. I was a Walter Payton fan growing up. Earl Campbell, 34. Okay. Insulin resistance. Glenn Gray, you are a type 2 diabetic. The reason you have type 2 diabetes is because you are insulin resistant. The reason I had type 2 diabetes is because I was insulin resistant. If you want to reverse your type 2 diabetes, reverse your insulin resistance. That's all it is. It's that simple. It is that simple. Now, How do we do that? There's a little bit of a challenge to there, of course, but it's not as hard, it's not as daunting as you might think. So, what is insulin resistance? Let's start by first understanding the problem. Okay, what is insulin resistance? And to understand the problem, we need to understand something called insulin. So, in case you didn't know, insulin is the most active hormone in your body. So, in a weird way, your type 2 diabetes is a hormone problem. How about that? Interesting, huh? That's a weird way to look at it. Another way to look at it is your type 2 diabetes is not a chronic and progressive disease, as you've been told. It is a symptom of insulin resistance. Start unthink and relearn, right? It's not a disease, it's a symptom of a problem. Okay, so what is insulin resistance? Okay, what is insulin? We already know it's a hormone. In fact, it's the most active hormone in your body. How does it play a role into your diabetes? That's what we're going to be talking about. So, when you consume a carbohydrate, right, you know that you've got a problem with carbohydrates. When you consume a carbohydrate, your body converts that carbohydrate to sugar. And that sugar goes out to your bloodstream, and that's what your cells use for energy. Now, sugar, glucose, right? The type of sugar is called glucose. That glucose. So, your cells use the glucose for energy. Now, you might think that the cell is like Pac-Man, just going along, gobbling up little dots of glucose, but that's not the way that it works. The cell is locked. It can't just accept the glucose. It's locked. It's completely closed, so it can't go in. Insert insulin. So your pancreas, when blood sugar is present, your pancreas secretes a hormone called insulin. And one of those jobs of that hormone is to act as a gatekeeper or a key to the cell. It kind of unlocks the cell for the glucose to go. And so when the cell stops responding to the insulin, that is insulin resistance. And what would happen when the cell doesn't respond to the key? Well, the glucose doesn't go where it's supposed to go. So you end up with rising levels of glucose in your bloodstream. And of course, what tells the pancreas to secrete insulin? Blood sugar. So the pancreas starts secreting more and more and more insulin until it's got enough insulin in your bloodstream to finally unlock those cells and the glucose levels drop. So what's happening is over time, you are getting rising levels of blood sugar or glucose, or hyperglycemia is the term, right? You're getting elevated blood sugar levels, hyperglycemic. But as that's happening, it's taking more and more and more insulin to get the job done. So you are becoming more hyperinsulinemic, elevated insulin, hyperinsulinemia. And that elevated insulin or hyperinsulinemia is what's causing the problem. We are effectively bathing our cells in insulin, and they are not responding to the insulin because of it. So if you want to resensitize the cells to the insulin, see, that's the key. If we resensitize the cell, it starts responding to the insulin. So resensitize the cell to the insulin. How do we do that? Well, we start by lowering the insulin in our bloodstream. And in fact, that's what this live stream really is going to be, is a conversation about some insulin lowering strategies. Okay, and we're not going to use medication to do that. We're going to use it the good old-fashioned way, through food, the things that we put in our mouth. See, the things that you put in your mouth are causing your glucose levels to spike, and when they spike, it spikes your insulin. So let's talk a lot about that. This entire conversation is going to be about insulin lowering strategies. And if we can lower our insulin enough, then we can start to promote more and more and more insulin sensitivity and reverse the insulin resistance. And if we can reverse enough insulin resistance, well, we can start to see things like type 2 diabetes, the symptom of insulin resistance, kind of go away, or at minimum become much better managed. Okay. Good morning, Vicky. How are you? Now, Glenn Gray says, I have bad nerve pain in feet and legs. Okay, it's called diabetic neuropathy, right? And that would be another symptom. So I've spent a lot of time talking about the symptom that is type 2 diabetes. But, and we've talked a lot about, well, let's see. Keith, that's called neuropathy, and it comes from insulin resistance. And I believe, Keith, your neuropathy has gotten better. Is that correct? Vicky says, mine is gone. Vicky had neuropathy. It's gone. So let's talk about this. I've talked about what is insulin resistance, right? What causes insulin resistance? Now let's talk about what does insulin resistance cause? And I'm going to ask for some participation here. I do this in every single live stream, and it's kind of fun. What it's going to do is it's going to start to take the magnifying glass off of type 2 diabetes. Okay, 'cause up till now, I've really just been talking about type 2 diabetes, but I want to show the magnitude of the problem that is insulin resistance, okay? It's not just type 2 diabetes that's caused by insulin resistance. In fact, just think about this. When the body isn't using its fuel sources properly, what happens? All sorts of things start to occur. So this image that's behind me, let me set this up a little bit, okay? This image that's behind me, and I'm gonna like you. If you've ever seen my live streams before, you'll know that I like to point to some proof. Okay, this right here is Dr. Ben Bikman. Dr. Ben Bikman is a professor of cell biology and physiology at Brigham Young University. This is his profile on Brigham Young University's website. That is Dr. Bikman. His research interests. The focus of my lab, the Laboratory of Obesity and Metabolism, is twofold. First, we aim to identify the molecular mechanisms that explain the increased risk of disease that accompanies weight gain, with particular emphasis on the etiology of insulin resistance and disrupted mitochondrial function. Insulin resistance. Take away from that whole comment, let's take away insulin resistance. Let's talk about accompanying weight gain, right? These are things that are probably the people that are listening to me are probably struggling with, right? Glucose control, maybe a little bit of a weight problem. So Dr. Bikman, in fact, if you're listening to me and you have one of those problems, would you do me a favor and just say, I do? If you have a glucose problem or a weight problem or both, would you just put in the comment section, I do? Dr. Bikman has multiple doctorates. You can scroll down here and see his courses taught. He's been teaching for quite some time. He's teaching our brightest minds all about metabolic science. That's something as a diabetic you should be interested in, is metabolic science. Now, these are his publications. You'll see metabolic diseases, right? Glucose intolerance, probably again something that a lot of you are interested in. Biomarkers of metabolism and glycemic control. I think I've made my point, right? So this is Dr. Ben Bikman. If you go over to Google and type Dr. Ben Bikman insulin resistance, well, right now there's about 264,000 results. This guy is the world's leading metabolic scientist. If you want to know a thing or two about this, you give this guy a follow. He is available on every social media platform. He's more prominent on some than others, but he's available pretty much on every social media platform. He's very active. If you're watching me on Twitter, he's very active on Twitter. He's very active on Facebook and Instagram. Not so active on TikTok. Wish he'd come over to TikTok as well, but he's a busy man. So, but you can see his lectures. I would definitely recommend giving Dr. Bikman a follow. Now, Dr. Bikman also has a website called insuliniq.com. And you'll see right here, Dr. Bikman, professor, author, researcher, and metabolic scientist, okay? Now, he's got this book called Why We Get Sick. I've got the same book right here. If you would like some formal reading, if you're into reading or if you like to listen, it's also available on audio file. But this book right here will absolutely change the way that you see the world as it stands. So with that being said, if you just scroll a little bit further, you will find that image that I've got behind my head right now. I got that image from Dr. Bikman's website. Okay, now that we're here, what I want to do is I want to encourage some engagement between the audience and myself. And I don't care what platform you are on. Hi, Sally. How are you? Okay. I don't care what. So Sally's watching from Facebook. I don't care what platform you're on. I'm going to ask for some engagement here. Okay. If I name off something that's on this list that Dr. Bickman says is associated with insulin resistance, would you do me a favor and type the word me? Just type the word me. If I name something off and it applies to you and actually, or somebody that you know, okay? If I name something off on this right here and it applies to you or somebody that you know, type the word me. And here's where I'm going with this. First off, I'm trying to drive some engagement with you, but I'm also really hoping that there are always, inevitably, there's always people who are really quiet and they're shy and they don't want to put the business out on the internet. And so I'm hoping that when you type the word me, they will realize that they are not alone in this, okay? So as I name these off, the types, if I hit a nerve with you, if this is something that occurs, appeals to you or somebody that you know, type the word me, okay? Let's start at the 12 o'clock position, which is stroke. And actually, I'm going to put a better image of this up. There we go. That's a little better, right? Stroke. Does that apply to you or somebody that you know? Hi, Amy, newbie here, still waiting on my, I love it, Amy. I'm so excited for you. Stroke. How about heart disease? Does that apply to you or somebody that you know? And if it does, type the word me. How about obesity? Does that apply to you or somebody that you know? 74% of Americans are affected by weight or are overweight or obese. Amy, me. Tracy, me. Vicky on both. Sally from YouTube. Hi, Sally. How are you? Sally from YouTube says me. Okay. How about migraine headaches? Do you suffer from migraine headaches? So I started suffering from migraine headaches at like 4th grade. I would be 9 years old and I put myself to bed. I never could figure out what was causing them. I just figured I was just plagued with them. Insulin resistance, okay? When we become insulin resistant, our blood vessels they're not as flexible as they're supposed to be. Vasodilation, vasoconstriction, it's a problem. Migraine headaches. I've not had a migraine headache since I started the protocol that I'm talking about today. How about dementia? I say if it affects you or somebody that you know, dementia is a prime example of somebody that you know. I doubt if anybody is listening to me that has dementia, but if you know somebody who has suffered from dementia, type me. How about osteoarthritis? Anybody listening to me have osteoarthritis? At work, bouncing between Facebook and YouTube. Awesome, Sally. Awesome. Was that you? That was you on Facebook. How about childhood obesity? Or polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS. The number one cause of infertility amongst women in the United States is PCOS. How about that? Do you know any women that are infertile? How about fatty liver? So cirrhosis of the liver is a top 10 cause of death in the United States. At the top of that list is non-alcoholic fatty liver disease caused by insulin resistance. How about arthritis? Anybody suffer from arthritis? Or Alzheimer's disease, oftentimes referred to as type 3 diabetes. Did you know that? What happens when we become insulin resistant of the brain? Type 3 diabetes. How about erectile dysfunction? There's one. So erectile dysfunction is oftentimes a symptom of something called autonomic neuropathy. Autonomic neuropathy caused by diabetes. According to the Centers for Disease Control, 90 to 95% of diabetes cases are caused by type 2 or are type 2, which is caused by insulin resistance. It's a pretty easy parallel between erectile dysfunction and insulin resistance. How about sarcopenia? Sarcopenia, anybody suffer from that? That's kind of a whittling away of your muscles. They just kind of are just going away. How about high blood pressure? And this one I expect to see a lot of people type the word me. Seems like everybody that we know has high blood pressure. And then finally, I've been throwing the teaser out there, but how about type 2 diabetes? If you have high blood pressure or type 2 diabetes, type the word me in the comment section. Mike, right? Glenn says me. I'm going to throw out some other symptoms, right? These are all symptoms. Think about it like that. Symptoms. Pre-diabetes makes perfect sense, right? Pre-diabetes clearly is the precursor to type 2. I'm going to throw out some other ones. I'm going to go pretty fast. Fibromyalgia, gout, multiple sclerosis. How about skin tags, those things around your neck or chest area, those little skin tags caused by insulin resistance? Do you have those? Would you like to see them go away? Or do you keep going to the dermatologist, they take them off, and they come back? It's because you never dealt with the root cause. They're caused by insulin resistance. How about that darkening or discoloration of the skin around your neck or armpit areas? Called acanthosis nigricans, caused by insulin resistance. How about bipolar treatment disorder? Or schizophrenia? What if there were some possible causal links to that? How many of you right now are listening to me that maybe have some gut issues, IBS or something like that? And let's throw out IBS. How many of you have gut issues, type 2 diabetes, and you also maybe struggle with your mental health? How many people are there? Me and my friend, right? And let's talk about, as Glenn said, diabetic neuropathy. That is pain, tingling, or numbness in the feet, legs, or extremities. How many of you suffer from that? Or diabetic retinopathy, right? Craig, how are you, brother? I'm starting to figure this thing out, brother. Diabetic retinopathy. That is the top 3 cause of blindness in the United States. Okay. What I'm trying to illustrate here is that all of these things are caused by the same problem, which is insulin resistance. I have multiple sclerosis, fibromyalgia, depression, irritable bowel syndrome, hypothyroidism, etc., and the skin tags. Small town, keep listening to this live stream. Let me ask a question here, and I'm talking to small town, but I'm also talking to everybody who's listening. This image that's above my head, just that image, how many of those symptoms are you currently treating with medication? Do me a favor and add up the medications that you're currently taking to treat those symptoms and put that in the comment section. Are we taking 3 different medications, 5 different medications, 10 different medications? Tracy says 0. That's because, Tracy, you're doing the protocol that I'm talking about. That funny girl. How about anybody else? How many of those symptoms are you treating? And then the bigger question is how many of those symptoms are you taking medications for, but not doing anything about the root cause, which is insulin resistance? I was on 17. I stopped everything, including pain pills. That's dangerous. And you know this, right? You know that this is dangerous. Hypothyroidism. Mike is on 3. He's coming off of his. I believe Mike was on 7. Small town. Small town. I want to talk to small town right now, but I'm talking to the entire audience. Small town. And I think this is going to apply to everybody. Do you feel hopeless? Do you feel helpless? Do you feel like you're kind of spinning out of control? It's only a matter of time before this whole thing, the curtain closes, and it won't have been a good ride. Hopeless. I don't know how to describe it other than that. I felt hopeless. I remember that feeling well. It was awful. Yes, fighting, staying here every day. Okay. There is hope. There is help, okay? There are people who care about you. There are people, right now you are watching a community of people who want to see you get better, okay? There is hope. My mother, it's interesting that you said 17 medications. My mother started this journey, the same one that I'm going to describe, at 17 medications. She's now down to 6. That's a pretty powerful thing. And we're working to get the other ones down as well. Okay. Sally, I have a young guy who works for me, and he recently got diagnosed with MS. I'm going to have him watch you. That is interesting. Okay. I'm going to go like this. Let's go over here just to kind of prove a point. Okay. Let's go. Does insulin resistance cause multiple sclerosis? Let's just click on that very first one. Metabolic profile of insulin resistance in patients with multiple sclerosis is associated to the severity of the disease. There you go. Okay. So Craig says, this is true. It's a supportive community. Hi, Brenda. How are you? Okay. And Craig, thank you, brother. Okay. So we've talked about what is insulin resistance, what causes insulin resistance. Now I want to talk more, and we talked about what does insulin resistance cause. I want to go through a 3-step protocol that I adhere to every day to work on reversing my insulin resistance. And I want to put that very, very clear. Work on reversing. I spent 3 or 4 decades probably, getting sick. Okay, think about the magnitude of that. 3 to 4 decades. When did you start seeing these symptoms? I saw the headaches when I was 9. When did you start seeing the symptoms? That's when it started. And how long have you been sick? It's probably not overnight. It's probably been for quite a while. So I am working every day to reverse that, but I'm getting better. Okay. I was a 12.2% A1C. I'm now a 5.1. I'm completely unmedicated. I had a 459 LDL. If there's anybody listening to me from the medical community, you've got to be a little bit floored by that number of 459 LDL. That is off the charts, right? A 565 cholesterol and a 561 triglycerides. When I was 23 years old, I had a blood pressure test done for life insurance. We'd just become new parents, and I wanted to get life insurance because that's the responsible thing to do. 148 over 108 was my blood pressure at 23. Judy, that is awesome. I'm excited for you, Judy. So excited for you. My worst fear is diabetic. All doctor guessed that first, but nothing yet. But okay, small town. There is a lot of support here. Okay, so let's dive into this. I'm going to talk about a 3-step protocol that I adhere to. These 3 steps are non-negotiable in my book. Now, oftentimes I get asked about berberine or cayenne or apple cider vinegar. If you're doing those, I don't have any problem with those at all. I also get asked about keto or carnivore diets, vegetarian or vegan diets, plant-based diets. I get asked about a lot of that stuff. Those are fine. Whole foods are wonderful. All natural products are wonderful. I don't have a problem with those. Now, I'm going to lay out 3 things that I consider my non-negotiables. Those 3 things I don't budge on. I will budge on using berberine every day. I don't use it every day. I'm not carnivore. I'm not keto. I'm not vegetarian. And I'm certainly not vegan. I'm a meat guy. But if you are and you apply those to these 3 steps, you're only going to get better, faster. Okay. So with that in mind, the 3 steps, let's dive right into this. By the way, the first step takes a little while to explain. The second one goes faster. The third one is the fastest. Okay. So step 1 of the protocol is intermittent fasting, a 16 and 8 time-based eating schedule. So out of a 24-hour day, I don't eat for 16. And in the 8 hours, I allow myself 2 meals. So for me personally, the way that this works is at 8 p.m., I'm done eating for the day. I don't eat again until noon the following day. That's a 16-hour block of time. Honestly, more often than not, I'm done eating at around 7. So my fast actually starts at 7, but it's a hard line at 8, right? And then if it's at 7, I could break my fast at 11, but I kind of have a hard line at noon. I rarely break my fast before noon. So I say a minimum of 16 hours. Oftentimes for me, it's more like 18 hours. When do you eat fruits? Favor, we'll talk about this, okay? Talking about fasting right now, but I will definitely get to that. So for me, 16 and 8 time-based eating. Now, between the hours of noon and 8, I allow myself 2 meals. No snacking, okay? Now, why is this? If you are insulin resistant, and I want to pull up a study here real quick. If you are insulin resistant, and a lot of people are saying, I'm not insulin resistant, I don't have diabetes. This study right here is an interesting one to look to. This was done in February of 2019. It looks at the prevalence of optimal metabolic health in American adults, National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey 2009 to 16. If you've ever heard Dr. Ben Bikman, this guy, say that 88% of Americans are insulin resistant, it is this study that he's going to. And in this study, they found that 12.2% of Americans achieved what they dubbed optimal metabolic health. So if there were 333 million Americans at our last census, that means about 297 million of us are insulin resistant. Now, what Dr. Bikman would say is that if you are insulin resistant and you are in that hyperinsulinemic state, it might take 6 or more hours for that insulin level to come down. Remember, we're trying to get the insulin levels down, right? To suppress the insulin. This is an insulin lowering strategy, getting those numbers down. Well, Bikman says that it might take 6 or more hours to do that. So once I break my fast at noon, do I want to keep eating throughout the entire eating window? No, that insulin level will never come down. That's not ideal. So I don't snack. What you won't hear me talk about is portion sizing or calorie deficits or something like that. I don't. I eat until I'm full. And when I'm done eating, and I try to eat nutritious foods that are going to give me plenty of energy, that I won't need a snack in between. Okay. Are you able to partake in adult beverage now and then with this? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll be full disclosure. I'm 47 years old, and I rode that horse pretty hard for about the last 30 years. I've recently decided as a personal decision to hang those gloves up. However, anybody who knows me, has been following me for the last year and a half, would know that I definitely I partook a lot in the drinking. I did generally stay to things that didn't cause glucose spikes. Red wine was one of them. Your spirits are another, vodka, bourbon, that sort of thing. They don't cause your blood sugar to spike. But in fact, they're like a 0 on the glycemic index. But if we understand that while you may not be causing your blood sugar to spike, you are definitely poisoning your liver. Your liver doesn't like that. Your body actually sees that as a poison. So long as we understand that that's actually what's happening, then yeah, I definitely did. And you can. I would say minimize the carb ones, right? I was a Budweiser guy for years, and Budweiser was really high in carbs. Okay, so with that in mind, the IPAs are really high, that sort of thing. So great question though, Raz. Okay, so how many of us wake up? Nate, great job. I quit a year ago when I found out I was insulin resistant. It's challenging, but I don't want it anymore, and that was a big thing. Okay. And kudos to you, Nate. How many of us wake up in the morning and either do right now or used to wake up and have a sugary cup of coffee, right? Or a cup of coffee with a sweetener. Maybe you go through the Starbucks and grab that coffee in the morning. Let me show you a video. This is pretty interesting. This will surprise you. I'm going to show you my TikTok page. This is my TikTok. If you're not following me on TikTok, you should. But I want to scroll down and I want to show you a video from Bobby. Maybe you guys have seen Bobby, but it's a pretty powerful video. Here we go.
This is the new peppermint mocha swirl here at Dunkin' Donuts. It has a record-breaking 186 grams of added sugar, but grams are kind of hard to visualize sometimes. So visualize this, my friends. It's the same amount of sugar as not that many munchkins, that many. 93 munchkins that are powdered sugar. Need another frame of reference? It has that much sugar. That is 46.5 teaspoons of white cane sugar in a freaking coffee. Now, I read the comments sometimes, and people say, Bobby, are they trying to kill us? No, if they kill us, we can't be consumers of their products. They're trying to make us hooked on their food, so we're fat, sick, and nearly dead. That way we keep buying their crappy food, and we keep buying their prescription medication. My friends, this is insane. This is a prime example of profits over people.
So how many people wake up in the morning and go through the Starbucks menu or something and grab one of those first thing in the morning? Right, Sheila? That's crazy, right? How many of us do that? A lot of people saying, Sheila says I did. A little bit shocked by that, right? Brenda, wow. and just for reference, it takes 1 teaspoon of sugar for your entire body to run. 1 teaspoon. Think about how small that is. 1 teaspoon. That thing had 47.5 in it. It's a lot. It's too much. Whoa, I'm up close and personal. I'm sorry about that. Okay. So how many of us wake up and go and get one of those? Or how many people as a population go and get one of those first thing in the morning? I have a good friend of mine, Ro, who you might be following on TikTok as well. Ro says she used to go through and get her coffee at Starbucks, and then right next door was the Einstein bagel. She'd go through there and get her bagel, her the whole wheat bagel and the vegetarian schmear or something like that. She thought that was a healthier to sit with the 55 carbs in that bagel. So she's taking in that coffee, that sugary coffee, and then that high carb. What are we doing right out the gate? We are spiking our glucose. And when we spike our glucose, what do we do to our insulin? We spike our insulin. Now remember, if Bickman said you are insulin resistant, it could take 6 or more hours for your insulin levels to come down. You've done that first thing in the morning. Then what do? Oftentimes people will go and have, a banana or a glass of orange juice. There's a funny one, right? A glass of orange juice. How about just having a nice little glass of sugar water to start your day? Boom. What does that do? A bowl of cereal, a bowl of oatmeal, a slice of starchy bread, maybe a starchy bread with some sugary Smucker's jam on it. I mean, think about this. What are we doing? First thing in the morning, we're spiking our glucose, which then spikes our insulin. And then what do? Inevitably, we're a little bit hungry mid-morning, right? How many of you are like starving at about 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning? I need something right now. And so you go for a granola bar or something like that. Is that relatable to anybody? You feel like at 9 o'clock in the morning, like your stomach is just growling. It's because of all the sugar that you've had. And so we have a little snack, something to get us through the morning, and then we get to lunch. And what do we do for lunch? We go and have, I heard a joke that Subway has somehow convinced an entire population that eating a loaf of bread is wonderful for lunch. Boom, more. Then we go, how many people are listening to me that struggle with, they feel like they want to go to sleep mid-afternoon, right? They're at their desk or they're on their forklift or their truck or something, and they're just dozing off. They have no energy mid-afternoon. So what do? Grab a soda. I used to grab a soda and a bag of chips or a cup of coffee, sugary coffee and a bag of chips. Then we get to dinner. What do we have for dinner? In my house, we always had a home-cooked meal because that was the time we were going to eat our best meal was home-cooked meal. We didn't know any better. We had mashed potatoes at every single meal. Mashed potatoes are high in the glycemic index. They are causing your blood sugar to spike. They are like one of the worst. In fact, they are one of the worst. And we had them every single night. We thought we were eating good. In fact, we were making the problem just exponentially worse. And then, so it got quiet on me, guys. Don't get quiet on me. This is an engaging live stream. I want to know how many people relate to what I just described. That is a day that either you do today or you did yesterday or, over the last 10 years. Is that relatable? Okay. And then on top of that, Glenn says me, La Galatica is raising her hand. Wonderful, guys. And I'm not saying wonderful in that kind of way. I'm saying, thank you for engaging. And then how many of us at the end of the day, and just again, let's just be honest, how many of us at the end of the day feel like we deserve a treat? So we go for a scoop of ice cream or a cookie or a candy bar or something like that. It's been a long day. We've been trying to eat better. I'm just going to have one little scoop of ice cream, right? Give myself a little treat, right? And thank you for being honest. Thank you, Craig. What do you recommend instead? That's what we're talking about right now. B says, me, always. What time do you do lives in the evening? La Galatica, I don't actually. I normally just do them. I'm going to start being very specific. Great question. What time do I do lives in the evening? I'm going to start doing lives every day like clockwork, Monday through Friday at 8:30 in the morning, Mountain Standard. So 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. I will be live every single day like clockwork at that time. Lisa, I do that, right? Here, Letitia, right? Amber. Okay, so what did I just illustrate? It's on the set. There you go. That's interesting. Okay, Gina Milner, used to, and it's a hard habit to break. Okay, so what did I just illustrate? What I illustrated was we wake up in the morning, and the first thing we do is spike our glucose, right? And then we continue to do that. I do a squirt of Ready Whip. Oh my God, I love Ready Whip, right? Pure sugar. We continue to keep our glucose all day long. Our glucose is spiking and then going down. Our glucose looks like one of those EKG meters, right? Like a sound pulse thing. What is our insulin doing during that same time? Our insulin is trying to come down. Remember, it takes 6 hours for that insulin to come down, and we just keep spiking it, and it goes back up. Tries to come down, we spike it, it goes back up. All day long, we are keeping our insulin levels pegged. We are in that hyperinsulinemic stage all day long. And that hyperinsulinemia, remember, that's what's causing the problem. And this live stream is an insulin lowering strategy. We're talking about insulin lowering strategies. We don't want to be hyperinsulinemic. We want that insulin level down. And another question would be, how long have you been doing it? Did you just start doing that last week or last month or last year? Or is that something that you've been doing for decades? Now, for me, I was doing it for decades. When I was younger and I was exercising a ton, I was maybe burning up some of that sugar a little better than I did when I got older, right? But eventually it caught up. I did that for decades. I would go and have a bowl of a box of Fruit Loops every single day. Think about it. I would have a box of Fruit Loops. I was a physically fit guy. I was a power lifter, a football player, baseball player. I was athletic. And because I was so athletic, I was able to kind of hide the problem that I was making. That the box of cereal every single day. I would go and I would eat an entire extra large pizza to myself. Right? And what am I doing? Early on, I was doing that. And so we're talking about developing a problem over the course of 30 years or 40 years. And finally, at some point, your body says, enough. I can't do it anymore. I can't disguise the problem anymore. I've shown you skin tags. I've given you headaches. I've given you high blood pressure. You're not doing anything about it. Now I'm giving you type 2 diabetes. Right? Your body says, And if that didn't catch your mind, if obesity and type 2 diabetes and those things and high blood pressure and high cholesterol and heart disease, if those didn't catch your attention, if your body's saying, hey, I'm going to throw all this stuff at you until you listen to me, guess what else is coming down the road? It's on the horizon. It's type 3 diabetes, dementia, and Alzheimer's. Fix your problem now. Fix your problem now, or know that that thing is coming at you. Dementia, Alzheimer's, they're coming at you. Fix the problem. Okay? So, when we talk about intermittent fasting, 16 and 8 time-based eating schedule. Think about how loud and rambunctious that eating schedule was that I just gave you. We're just nibbling all day long. We're grazing like a cow all day long. What I'm talking about doing is skipping breakfast. When you're done eating dinner, be done for the night. You've had dinner. You're not going to get hungry again between 8 p.m. and the time you go to sleep. You're not hungry. If you feel like putting something in your mouth, that's a habit. That's not hunger. Correct? Is that an addiction or is that hunger? Question to you. Is that an addiction or is that hunger when you eat late at night? Right? And so I'm talking about when you're done eating at 8, just be done for the evening. When you wake up in the morning, skip breakfast. Don't eat again until noon. When you have your coffee, enjoy your coffee. Just don't put sugar in it. Enjoy your tea. Just don't put sugar in it. Easy enough, right? This is so easy. Now at noon, we're going to be able to break our fast. And from noon until 8, we're going to allow ourselves 2 meals. I don't care about the size. You don't need to be glutinous, right? We don't need to just like eat the left half of the refrigerator. There's no need for that. But eat until you're full. Eat enough food that you're going to feel full enough until your next meal. And in the morning, what are we doing? Let's talk about what's really happening, right? Tea is not bad, Judy, right? It's delicious. I'm drinking it right now. Dr. Mark Mattson is a neuroscientist out of Johns Hopkins Medical University. Dr. Mark Mattson has been studying intermittent fasting for more than 25 years. Now, he would say that somewhere around 12 to 14 hours, we metabolically switch our fuel source from glucose to an alternative fuel source. Anybody have any idea what the alternative fuel source is? Anybody have any idea what our alternative fuel source? We've got glucose. If we're running on glucose, what happens when we don't eat and we don't have glucose? Is there an alternative fuel source in our bodies? Can we use an alternative fuel? Does anybody have any idea what the alternative fuel source is? It's fat. It's fat. Our body, Sheila, our body fat. There it is. Our body fat. How many of us have a little bit of extra jiggly fat around our waist we don't want anymore? Like, God, why do I have all this? Is it because I'm not eating right? Is it because I'm not exercising? Yeah, it is. And you know that, right? You know that I got to start. Everybody says, I got to start eating better. But what do? We start counting calories, right? We start counting calories. We restrict our meals and we try some new yo-yo diet, and it never really fixes the problem, right? We never really address the problem. But what's causing the fat? Insulin is a storer of fat. Okay, when insulin is present, we store fat. When insulin is not present, the fat cell has to shrink. Dr. Ben Bickman. A great example of this is, think about the type 1 diabetics that you know. These are the people who were diagnosed when they were kids, 7 years old, 8 years old, that diabetic. And honestly, you probably don't know many of them at all. You might have known 1 or 2 throughout your entire youth, right? There's not a whole lot of them out there. In fact, they represent about 5% of the overall diabetes cases in the United States, or about 1.9 million people out of 330. So it's a pretty small percentage of people that are type 1s. But if you were to think about the type 1 diabetics, you would probably, if we were playing the stereotype game, classify them as thin as a rail, right? You'd probably say that they were all skinny. And then if you look at the type 2 diabetics, the people like me, the ones who took 30 years to get diabetes, you would probably say that we were pleasantly plump or well-rounded or just fat, right? I was fat. I was 5'11", 265 pounds. I was fat, obese. What is the difference between a type 1 diabetic and a type 2 diabetic is the presence of insulin. A type 1 diabetic doesn't make any insulin. A type 2 diabetic is hyperinsulinemic. They've got it just flowing through their bloodstreams. Insulin is storing fat. Oh, that is awesome, AK. AK Coltrane. Love that. Who's your sponsor, AK? Who is your sponsor? Whose link did you use? And if you use mine, I apologize. I don't know the usernames very, very well. What's up, Janice? How are you? Good morning, Janice. So when we're fasting, we are metabolically switching our fuel source from glucose over to fat. If you want to see those love handles melt away, stop using glucose for fuel, start using them for fuel. Anybody have here's a question to you. Who knows the record for the longest medically supervised, I'm going to say medically supervised fast? What is the record for the longest medically supervised fast? I'm just throwing that out there. You guys give me your best answer. Oh, I'm sorry, Janice. I'm sorry to see that. Guys, give me what do you think the record is for the longest medically supervised fast? This is a crazy number. We got plenty of fat. Ooh, Joshua. 364 days is Joshua's guess. Anybody else? Sheila says 40 days. Glenn says Jesus, 40 days. Gina Milner says 45 days. I'm going to go over to my TikTok. Bye, baby. I'm going to go over to my TikTok, and I did a duet with a good friend of mine. It's been a little while ago. This guy right here. You ready?
This guy went 382 days without eating, and you won't believe what he looked like afterwards. In 1965, 27-year-old Angus Barberry checked into the hospital in Scotland for a short fast. He started out weighing 456 pounds, and as the fast went on, he felt so good that he insisted that the doctors let him keep fasting. During this time, the only thing he consumed other than water was vitamins, electrolytes, a little bit of yeast, and zero-calorie beverages like soda water or black coffee. 1 year and 17 days later, he finally hit his ideal weight of 180 pounds and decided to break his fast with a hard-boiled egg. And here's what he looked like afterwards. The crazy thing is, he was able to keep this weight off. Even though you don't have to do it for a whole year, you'd probably be surprised at the health benefits you'd get by incorporating a little fasting into your routine.
Who had 382 days as their guess? 382 days. Isn't that crazy? You can skip breakfast. Your body, you can skip breakfast. You'll survive. Okay? We are metabolically switching our fuel source over to our fat. And what happens when we're using fat? We're not using glucose. When we're not using glucose, guess what is not present? Insulin. Our insulin is down. And when our insulin is down, what causes the insulin resistance? Hyperinsulinemia, elevated insulin. Well, when that insulin level is down, we are promoting insulin sensitivity. It's like killing two birds with one stone, right? We are promoting insulin. We are actively reversing insulin resistance, the very problem that causes your type 2 diabetes. You're fixing it. You are fixing the problem while you're using your love handles for fuel. It's amazing. Who's heard of Joslin Diabetes Center? I'm going to blaze through this portion real quick, but I want to touch on it. Who's heard of Joslin Diabetes Center? This is jocelyn.org, Joslin Diabetes Center. Joslin Diabetes Center has been improving the lives of diabetes patients since 1893. Now, this is Dr. Elliot Joslin. And when Dr. Joslin graduated med school in the 1800s, diabetes was extremely rare, especially type 2. Type 2 diabetes, understanding that it's a food-based disease symptom, right? The average working man couldn't afford the pastries and the cakes and all of the highly processed sweets that the wealthy could. So you almost had to be wealthy to get diabetes. The average working man was eating more of a healthy diet. They had a better exercise plan. They were out moving, eating right, eating and exercise. They had the right diet and exercise. Now, when Dr. Joslin graduated med school, he found out that his mother and his aunt both had diabetes. And for that reason, Dr. Joslin went on to specialize in diabetes. Now, with that being said, Dr. Joslin thought the keys to diabetes control were strict glucose control, which we know. If you are a type 2 diabetic, you know that type 2 diabetes, if you're type 1, I don't care what type you are, type 1, type 1.5, type 2, MODI, you know that strict glucose control is the best way to manage your diabetes, right? Dr. Joslin was talking about that 130 years ago. What we don't talk about is the other thing that he said. He thought that intermittent fasting was key. And in fact, he wrote of this in 1916. Dr. Jocelyn wrote that temporary periods of undernutrition are helpful in the treatment of diabetes, will probably be acknowledged by all after these 2 years of experience with fasting. Dr. Jocelyn was effectively saying this wasn't that big of a deal. If we just quit eating so frequently, the problem will go away. But did we listen to Dr. Jocelyn 108 years ago? No. In fact, just a few years after he wrote this, the University of Toronto would discover insulin. And the University of Toronto would sell the patent to the insulin to Eli Lilly for $1. Did you know that? $1. $1. Oh, so did you just get it? Send me, do you have my phone number still, Coltrane? Yes, you can. You can do this. Absolutely, you can do this. So, sold the patent for $1. Now, in 2022, the global human insulin drug market was estimated to be $45 billion. $45 billion. They took that $1 investment and turned it into $45 billion 100 years later. That's a pretty good return on the investment, right? Now, we're going to show this guy again, Dr. Ben Bikman, right? This guy here. What I want to do is scroll down on, we're going to go back over to my TikTok. And by the way, when I'm done with this live stream, go through my videos on TikTok. You'll find that they are all very commonly themed. But I want to go to a video that I did of Dr. Ben Bikman, again, the world's leading metabolic scientist. And I want to play a video that he did that's talking about insulin therapy with type 2 diabetics. So how many people are listening to me right now that are on insulin? If you're a type 2 diabetic and you are actively injecting yourself with insulin, you are what they've dubbed insulin dependent type 2 diabetic, or you're on insulin therapy, whatever the word is. This is Dr. Ben Bikman talking about the dangers of insulin therapy with type 2 diabetics, okay?
But regardless, because we have a glucose-centric view of the disease, essentially the clinician is saying, well, to heck with your insulin. Who cares if we push it up even higher? They might not even know where it is. All they know is if they push the insulin up even higher, the glucose will in fact come down. And because that's the target, the glucose, they believe they're achieving the optimal outcome. However, it's much more complicated and sinister than that. The more aggressively we're giving a type 2 diabetic insulin to control their glucose, the faster we kill them. They are 3 times more likely to die from heart disease, and twice as likely to die from cancer, and twice as likely to develop Alzheimer's disease. And throughout all of it, they need more and more and more insulin, because they're becoming ever more resistant to it.
So type 2 diabetics that are on insulin therapy, if you are type 2 and you're actively giving yourself insulin, would you do me a favor and validate what Dr. Ben Bikman just said? Did your use, since you've begun using insulin, has your insulin usage gone up or has it gone down? Let's just see if there's anybody listening. We got quite a crowd today. There's a bunch of people. By the way, we've got a bunch of people watching from Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. By the way, if you're on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, post your comments. I can see them and I'll share them up top. If you are a type 2 diabetic and you're on insulin, has your usage of insulin gone up or has it gone down? That is the question I'm asking to you guys. Has your usage gone up or down? Are we going to validate what Dr. Ben Bikman just said? Are we becoming more and more and more resistant to the insulin? Got quiet on me, guys. Got quiet on me. Okay. Who's heard of Dr. Jason Fung? Dr. Jason Fung is a nephrologist out of Toronto, Canada. He studies kidneys, and he found a relationship between poor kidney health and insulin resistance. He thought that if we could reverse insulin resistance, that it would have a profound effect on the kidney. Glenn says it was going up, but it wasn't helping, so he quit. Tracy. Dr. Jason Fung. He wrote a book called Life in the Fasting Lane. What Dr. Jason Fung did to reverse insulin resistance to help the kidneys, and has now helped a boatload of people reverse their type 2 diabetes. What Dr. Fung did was went to the work of Dr. Elliot Jocelyn, that guy from more than 100 years ago. Strict glucose control and intermittent fasting. Pretty simple formula. Strict glucose control and intermittent fasting. So what did he do? The strict glucose control, he used a low-carb, high-fat diet. That is keto. If you're unfamiliar with keto, Dr. Jason Fung had his patients start practicing a very strict keto diet. No processed foods, no seed oils, very low in the carbs, and high fats. That's something we're not used to. We've been taught to have high carb, low fat. He's suggesting low carb, high fat, quite the opposite. And it worked. It worked wonderfully. He not only had people reversing their kidney disease, but their prediabetes, their type 2 diabetes. In this book, one of the co-authors of this book had polycystic ovarian syndrome, and she was infertile. She not only reversed type 2 and PCOS, but she reversed her infertility. She's had 2 children with her husband, all naturally, no medications, and it's beautiful. Your kidneys are not good. I spoke to a gentleman yesterday, and I need to get I need to get him to send me a text. He's out of California. I don't know if he's listening to me right now, but Guy, if you are listening to me, I'd love to hear your word. This guy had stage 4 kidney failure. He's been doing this exact protocol that I'm describing for a few months now, 4 months, I think. His nephrologist told him yesterday that he is now in stage 3. Now, 6 months ago, they told him that once you're in stage 4, you can't go back. The kidney is shot. He's gone from stage 4. He's now at stage 3. Still has a ways to go, but his kidneys are improving. How about that? How freaking cool is that? That made my day yesterday. Okay, so, folks, step 1 of the protocol is intermittent fasting. I talk a lot about keto. I talk a lot about carnivore. I am neither of. I only practice the intermittent fasting portion of that. And for me, it's 16 and 8 time-based eating. If you are keto, if you are a carnivore, I don't have a problem with those at all. They make perfect sense. They're just too strict for me. I fail at them when I try. So if you are of the mindset that you can make that work, then more power to you. Apply it to this, and it will only benefit, okay? Mike goes to his nephrologist May 1st. I can't wait to hear this. Okay. It is super cool, Glenn. Okay. You know what's the coolest thing is being a part of somebody's health journey like that. You know, I did a TikTok live stream, and this random dude came across a random dude, and 4 months later, he's starting to see a pretty drastic improvement in his health. And I love that. I love that. Okay. Are we ready for step 2 in the protocol? You know, I'm going, yes, I know you're going with. Are we ready for step 2 of the protocol? Do me a favor and type the word ready if you're ready for step 2. Also, if you're on Twitter or YouTube, I see you guys. You're watching me. Say hi. If you're on Twitter or YouTube, type the word hi. I want to throw that up there. People can see. I can share. Sheila says she's ready to move on to step 2 of the protocol. Also, if you are on TikTok, actually, if you're on any of the social media platforms that we're live on right now, do me a favor and tap the screen and get those likes up. Okay, the likes. If you think that this is information that's worth sharing, if you think that TikTok or whatever platform you're on should put my live stream in front of more people, then tell that platform that by tapping the like screen. Okay, if you just tap this right now on TikTok, where it looks like 7,700. We had 100,000 likes about a month and a half ago. If we can get back up to 100,000, that will tell TikTok that, hey, there's something this guy's saying that people want, and they will start putting me in front of more people. Right now, for some reason, they are restricting my viewership. And I can see it in my data. I used to get 74% of my viewers came from the suggested live feed. It's now 33% of my viewers. They are clearly restricting my viewership. So if you don't like that, if you think that this should be shared, then tell them that by hitting that like screen. Okay. And that's the same on any platform. Manual AI, I know it does, Tracy. It's because you're going too fast. Okay, guys, step 2 of the protocol. And Craig said he was ready. Huggy Bear said they were ready. I know it, Sheila, and it's crazy. I actually sent them pictures of their own charts yesterday that show that they are clearly the fact that they. Okay, I know that Craig and Tracy are followers of me. Did either of you guys get a notification this morning? When I went live, did either of you get a notification this morning that I went live on TikTok? And I doubt, I bet both of you say no. They are clearly restricting. Where is the like? Glenn, if you just tap the screen, Gina did not get a notification from TikTok that I went live. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I'm starting to affect their pocketbook. That's the only reason I can think. Maybe they're. I don't think so, right, Craig? It's crazy. They aren't. And anybody who's followed me for a while on TikTok would know that I'm happy that 39 people are listening to me. It used to be 300 people in my live streams. They are clearly restricting. Renee, no notification. Yeah. So if you think that that is a bunch of baloney on TikTok, then tell TikTok that. And the way that you do that is by tapping the screen. Can you guys get me to 100,000 likes and share this thing with as many people as you can? And I never ask for gifts. I think that the gifts are corny. I don't want you to spend any money on the gifts. But should you feel so inclined, that is another way to tell TikTok, hey, I want you to get this out. Readying, let's see. Letitia did not get notified. Readying never got a notification for you or Michelle. Roger, I used to get your notification. Last couple of weeks, I haven't gotten any. I got one that you were on this grid. Oh, there you go, Patrick. How are you? Okay, so here's the deal. Here's another thing is it's my understanding that my followers on the other platforms, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, they are getting notified. So if you would like to give me a follow on those platforms, they're not playing games. Go give me a follow on those platforms. And I'm going live on those platforms every single day at the exact same time. So if TikTok wants to play games, go give me a follow on those platforms, guys. And those platforms will notify you. Okay. So with that being said, let's dive right into the step 2 of the protocol. What is step 2 of the protocol? Step 2 of the protocol is consuming more chlorogenic acid. Chlorogenic acid. Now, what is chlorogenic acid? Chlorogenic acid is one of the most abundant polyphenols on Earth. It's naturally occurring, and we find polyphenols, we find chlorogenic acid in certain foods like certain fruits, certain vegetables, pears, apples. Those are great sources for chlorogenic acid. We find it in certain vegetables, certain nuts, certain seeds, green tea, black tea, yerba mate tea. Has anybody heard of yerba mate tea? It is most abundant on Earth in a green coffee bean. If you are into the science side of things, right, it's actually the ester of caffeic acid. So naturally occurring. That's what we're going to lean on. We're going to lean on naturally occurring, and it's abundant in all sorts of different foods and teas. Now, chlorogenic acid. Chlorogenic acid has been scientifically proven to suppress appetites, to aid in weight loss, to lower blood pressure, to promote insulin sensitivity. In fact, chlorogenic acid has been scientifically, chlorogenic acid acts in a similar way to metformin. What if I could show you proof that chlorogenic acid acts in a similar way to metformin or blood pressure lowering medications? How many people are on a blood pressure medication? And what if I could show you proof that chlorogenic acid causes statistically significant reductions in blood pressure. Would that be of interest to you? What if I could show you proof that chlorogenic acid acts in a similar way to this new class of medications like Ozempic, Mounjaro, right? Ozempic, Mounjaro, they are GLP-1 receptor agonists. What if I could show you proof that chlorogenic acid causes your body to produce more GLP-1? That's pretty interesting, right? Glenn Gray, thank you for listening, man. I really appreciate that. Off blood pressure meds, Renee doing the exact same thing, this exact same protocol. Okay, so what is chlorogenic acid? I've already mentioned that it is a naturally occurring polyphenol. I want to find a Google search. Here we go. Share this. This is a Google search. What foods contain chlorogenic acid? Okay. And the source of chlorogenic. Let's see what the next one says. I've never done that one. What food has the chlorogenic acid? Is a natural antioxidant found in a variety of fruits and vegetables. Studies have shown that consuming foods high in chlorogenic acid can help reduce the risk of developing cancer. Foods high in chlorogenic acid include black coffee, apples, grapefruit, strawberries. Chlorogenic acid is all natural. Okay, it's in our food. Now, this study right here looks at the effects of chlorogenic acid on blood pressure. If you have high blood pressure, take note of this study. This is from PubMed. I found this on PubMed, National Institutes for Health. If you're unfamiliar with that, it is an official website of the United States government. Okay, and this is, okay, so the effects of chlorogenic acid on blood pressure. It's a systematic review and meta-analysis of randomized clinical trials. In conclusion, the evidence from published randomized clinical trials suggests that chlorogenic acid intake causes statistically significant reductions in systolic and diastolic blood pressures. Boom. We have pretty definitive proof that chlorogenic acid lowers blood pressure. Again, let's go back to here. In a variety of fruits and vegetables, it is high in black coffee. Okay, it is high in black coffee. Let's go over to this here. Chlorogenic acid improves glucose tolerance, lipid metabolism, so cholesterol, right? Inflammation. How many of us suffer from inflammation? And microbiota composition in diabetic mice, diabetes. Chlorogenic acid helps a lot of things according to this one. The results showed that chlorogenic acid decreased body weight and improved glucose tolerance and insulin resistance, and these effects were similar to those of metformin. I never read the next line, but chlorogenic acid decreased hepatic lipid content by increasing the expression of, okay, we're getting a little bit messy here, but we've got proof that chlorogenic acid acts in a similar way to metformin. This study here, found on PubMed Central, roles of chlorogenic acid on regulating glucose and lipids metabolism. Good morning, Mel. How are you? Lynn, my husband is on 4 blood pressure meds and metformin. Is he getting better on the, let me just ask this question, Lynn. Is he getting better? They keep throwing more and more and more meds at him. Is he healing? Yes or no? Is he winning or is he losing? The more stuff they throw at him, is he winning or is he losing? Is he getting better? Is he healing? Is it time to try something different? For example, it is reported that daily consumption of 3 to 4 cups of decaffeinated coffee containing high contents of chlorogenic acid significantly reduced the risk for type 2 diabetes by 30%. Chlorogenic acid is a novel insulin sensitizer that potentiates insulin action similar to the therapeutic action of metformin. Black tea. Should I drink black coffee between the? Yes. While you're fasting, Glenn, yes. Black coffee is wonderful. No sugar. Yeah, it is available. It's wonderful. Black tea. Okay. But right there, chlorogenic acid is a novel insulin sensitizer that potentiates insulin action similar to the therapeutic action of metformin. How many of you are on Ozempic? Of my listeners right now, how many of you are on Ozempic? What's up, Mel? How are you? Mel is listening to us, by the way, from Australia. I love that. The fact that we are global. This live stream is global. Interesting, Mel. Did you get a notification that I was live today? How many of you guys? We've got what, 35 on TikTok. We've got a bunch on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. Yes, green tea has chlorogenic acid. How many of you guys are on Ozempic or Mounjaro or Zepbound or Wegovy or Rybelsus or Trulicity or one of the Saxenda, if you're overseas? Maybe Saxenda is the more popular one over there. How many of you guys are on those or have heard of those? You're not getting... Okay, so Mel, it is almost 10 o'clock. I went live an hour and a half ago. Okay, so whatever time that is to you, I'm going live every single day at the same time. Okay, I will go live at the exact same time every single day, 8:30 Mountain Standard Time. Sally is on Rybelsus. Okay. So let's see here. I want to talk about this guy right here. Andrew Huberman is an associate professor of neurobiology and, by courtesy of, psychiatry and behavioral sciences at Stanford Medicine. Dr. Huberman got his bachelor's from the University of Cal Santa Barbara, his master's from the University of Cal Berkeley, his PhD from Cal Davis, and his postdoctorate came from Stanford University. This guy is quite brilliant. We should listen to him whenever he talks. This is him talking about yerba mate increasing GLP-1.
Certain other compounds, plant compounds, stimulate its release. But what does it do in the hypothalamus?
Let me
in
start
South America.
I didn't realize I
was looking at Gila monsters, those really scary things. And he realized they don't have to eat very often. I wonder if they're hungry all the time or not. Turns out it takes their blood, isolates a peptide, which turns out to be GLP-1, puts it into other animals, and realizes it suppresses appetite. Amazing, right? Like this is what I love about biology. Some dude who studies Gila monsters. Turns out humans make GLP-1. GLP-1 is stimulated by things like yerba mate tea. Certain other compounds, plant compounds, stimulate its release. But what does it do in the hypothalamus? It suppresses hunger by way of, there's a particular brain arcuate pathway, blah, blah, blah. But it also affects the mechanosensors of the gut so that you feel like your gut's full. Like it's almost like you're getting like a pharmacologic tummy, stapled stomach, right? So when people take a drug that mimics GLP-1, their brain is like, well, I'm not as hungry, and their stomach feels full even though it's empty. The guy down in South.
How interesting is that, huh? Does anybody find that interesting? You're on, I see Trisha says she is on Tirzepatide. Tirzepatide, that is Mounjaro, correct? Or Zepbound? You're type 2 insulin dependent, blood pressure, meds. Do you feel, did you guys, were you able to hear that, by the way, the second time around? A1C 5.2, goal to get off insulin and blood pressure meds. Why don't you want to get off of Tirzepatide? If you can get that same GLP-1 thing from yerba mate, again, that is one of the smartest dudes out there. Talking about yerba mate stimulates the same thing. Why would you want to? Right? Yes, you heard it. Yes, Lynn. Is that okay? So to everybody listening right now, is that interesting? Yeah, I had no sound at the beginning. Is this just now hearing this? And is that interesting to you? To everybody who's on one of those medications, you are actively poking yourself with one of those medications. You're giving yourself that injection every single day or every single week. I mean, did you know that there was an alternative? Let me see. You can increase your GLP-1 production by consuming more chlorogenic acid, by consuming things like yerba mate tea. You just heard that from Dr. Andrew Huberman, okay? You can increase it naturally. You can lower your blood pressure. You can lower your blood pressure by consuming more chlorogenic acid naturally. We have proof. If you consume more chlorogenic acid, chlorogenic acid acts in a similar way to metformin. It's an appetite suppressant. It aids in weight loss. It lowers blood pressure. It sensitizes the cells to insulin. There are all sorts of reasons to consume chlorogenic acid. And I want to point out, once again, go to Google. What food has the most chlorogenic acid? Just here's one article right here. Chlorogenic acid is a natural antioxidant found in a variety of fruits and vegetables. Studies have shown that consuming foods high in chlorogenic acid can help reduce the risk of developing cancer. Foods high in chlorogenic acid include black coffee, apples, grapefruit, and strawberries. I mean, there's a ton of research on this. Go and do that yourself, okay? So with that in mind, I want to talk about this guy here again, Dr. Ben Bikman. Dr. Bikman, this guy, world's leading metabolic scientist. This guy, when he speaks, people listen. People in the educated world listen to this man. Okay. Dr. Bikman did he's now looked at a specific yerba mate extract a number of times. He just recently published this study, yerba mate extract. Yerba mate supplement exerts beneficial tissue-specific effects on mitochondrial efficiency and redox status in healthy adult mice. Dr. Ben Bikman. So in this study, he's also just recently done another study on it, on the same product. And he says that this one right here increases your GLP-1 production by up to 70% during a fasted state. Up to 70% during a fasted state. It's a yerba mate extract. We've now heard Dr. Andrew Huberman talk about yerba mate and GLP-1, and we've got the world's leading metabolic scientist saying that this version of yerba mate increases GLP-1 by up to 70%. Costs about $1.75. Costs about $1.75. Healthy Jenny, yes, you can. Absolutely. Absolutely. Send me a message. So, if there's anybody that's interested in this, I will tell you how to buy it at the end of the live stream. If you're interested in it, but at $1.75, it does wonders, and it's got proof. Are we ready for step 3 in the protocol? Does anybody have any questions about step 2? If you have questions about step 2, Jenny, do you have a sponsor? As in, are you already on the protocol? Rob Bonnie, you just want the tea. Rob, do you have a sponsor? Are you already on the protocol? Okay. Are we ready for step 3? Got kind of quiet on me. If you guys are ready for step 3, type the word ready. No sponsor yet. Then Rob. Okay. So Healthy Jenny and Rob, both of you guys, send me a direct message. Okay. And I will show you how to get just the tea. Okay. Send me a direct message. And Universal 3440 says they're ready. Huggy Bear says ready. Love the name. Sheila says, yep. Okay. Step 3 of the protocol is consuming more fiber. 93% of Americans don't get the recommended daily intake of fiber. That is 95% of men and 91% of women do not get the recommended daily intake of fiber. That's a staggering number. Now, why does that matter? Well, fiber helps our bodies naturally regulate our glucose. And if we regulate our glucose, then of course we regulate our insulin. So a diet adequate, maybe you've heard this statement before, a diet that's adequate in fiber drastically reduces its risk for heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes. Have you heard that? And of course, if we know that a diet adequate in fiber does those, well, why does it do those? Because when it helps us regulate our glucose, then of course, we are not insulin resistant. That's the key. That's been the key all along, right? So with that in mind, why does fiber help us regulate our glucose? There are two categories of fiber. There's a soluble fiber and an insoluble fiber. Insoluble fiber does not dissolve in water. Soluble fiber does. Insoluble fiber goes through your body like a Roto-Rooter. It gets rid of all the stuff we're not going to use, and we end up pooping that stuff out the backside in the toilet. Soluble fiber does dissolve in water. It becomes a thick, sticky, gelatinous, gooey type matrix, and it slows down the body's ability to process the carb. That is key. Okay, so if you don't have fiber, let's pick on something like white bread. White bread is a 100 in the glycemic index. It doesn't have any fiber. It causes your body to convert that glucose or that carbohydrate to glucose quick. We get a quick high glucose spike. And what does that do to our insulin? We get a quick high insulin response. We don't want that. Now, if we have the appropriate amount of fiber, when you consume that bread, that slice of bread, your body doesn't convert it right away. It slows down the process. And when we do that, we get a slow, gradual climb of our glucose. And what does that do to our insulin? Slows down the insulin response. That is key. It keeps that insulin level down. We don't want to be high. We want to be low. When we're low, we promote insulin sensitivity. We are reversing that insulin resistance. We are getting healthier by the moment. Key, right? So simple. Love all the info and the doctor videos. Thank you. Sheila, are you new to my live stream? Have you seen me before? In fact, I want to ask that question. There are, 30-something people on TikTok. We've got quite a few on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. How many people are brand new to me? If you're new to me, type the word new. If you're new to me, type the word new. Let's see. New. Trisha. Sheila is new. Austin Bridger, reduce your carb intake. That's pretty simple. It is, Austin. That's exactly what I've been saying. It's exactly what I've been saying. I don't. Austin, did you just now join? See, a bunch of people are new. Glenn is new. Trisha is new. Sheila is new. Lisa is new. Huggy Bear. Tracy is a veteran to me. Chris is new. Healthy Jenny is new. Okay. A lot of people new to me. By the way, if you like this content so far, then do me a favor and tap the screen. Tap the screen and tell TikTok that you like this, and people should share it. The TikTok should share this information. Let TikTok know that they should share the content. And you do that by tapping the screen. Put 10,000 likes up there. How many likes can you put up there by yourself? Okay. So increasing our fiber. Now, why don't we get the recommended daily intake of fiber as a society? It's because of all the ultra processed foods, the highly processed foods. There's no fiber in there. What's a good source of fiber is the produce section. And you've heard that before. Get out of the ultra processed foods, the highly processed foods. Eat more salads, right? Well, guess what? There's a lot of fiber in the produce section. So go over to the produce section and get a wide variety of fruits and vegetables. When you're picking your fruit, let's be careful of which fruits we're picking. We're going to stick to skin on less sweet. Okay, we're gonna avoid those tropical fruits as well. So, skin on things like apples, right? Strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, that sort of thing. We're going to minimize the skin off. Things like oranges, bananas, grapefruits. Guys, it looks like my, oh, no, it didn't. Cindy is my coach. Been on the product 2 months down. That's wonderful. Cindy's a stud. I like Cindy a lot. Repeated viewer, Sally. You have been. And I believe, Sally, over on only on YouTube, right? You came across me on YouTube, and I really like that. Gina, my fitness pal reminds me daily that reducing carbs is not that easy for me, and I'm on no sugar and soy. It is challenging, Gina. You have to work at it. Count your macros, not your look at your macros. In fact, I want to play a video real quick. Let's see. I want to go to the Healthy Pit Master on Facebook. If you go to the Healthy Pit Master on Facebook, that is my Facebook feed. If you scroll down, I just recently did a video. I shared a video from Dr. Ben Bickman. Let me see if I can find it real quick. But it's Bickman talking about, there it is. No, that's one of them. You know what, though? I bet you it's in there. I bet you I could just go to Dr. Ben Bickman. You should be giving Bickman a follow, by the way. If you're not giving him a follow, here. Oh, where's the sound? There it is. Oh, no sound, huh? I'm being told there's no sound. Did everybody have no sound on that? Could nobody hear any sound on that? Oh, dang it. I guess it helps to share. Okay, let's try this again.
Expressions I hate the most just happens to be one of the most beloved when it comes to nutrition and health, which is moderation in all things. That is a phrase that just drips with wisdom. Doesn't it seem to just sound so smart? And yet when it comes to reality and human behavior, and even, dare I say, human addiction, it doesn't work. After all, that term ignores the potential that people can, in fact, become addicted to eating certain foods and behaving in certain ways. Within the family of macronutrients that humans eat, namely fats, proteins, carbohydrates, humans only really appear to show an addiction to one of them, namely carbohydrates. This is a really good study that you could read. It's very thorough to get a little more insight into this. But basically, this study documents how when it comes to carbohydrates, and especially sweet carbohydrates, people appear to have as strong an addiction as they would to various chemicals, including alcohol and drugs. So moderation in all things sounds so nice, but it doesn't work in principle, because what if you're talking to someone who's addicted to refined starches and sugars? It would be better for them to not eat any than it would be for them to try to eat just a little and stop. Imagine telling an alcoholic that they should just have one glass of wine and then stop drinking. You're giving them more of what's causing the problem.
I think that's a powerful statement right there. And it's something that again, from Dr. Ben Bickman. I think it's something that maybe you should think about, right? And the thought, I don't want to give up carbs. Maybe you've got a problem with carbs, right? And we know that the sugar's addicting, right? So when we go over to the fruit section, we're going to get a wide variety of fruits and vegetables. At the fruit section, stick to skin on, less sweet. There's all sorts of fiber in the skin. There's all sorts of polyphenols like chlorogenic acid in the skin of the fruits. So excellent fruit choices are apples, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries. We are going to minimize the skin off tropical fruits, things like oranges, bananas, that sort of thing. Of course, what happens to your blood sugar when you have a banana or an orange? It probably spikes. Now, skin off. I'm not excluding avocados. Eat avocados all day long. Avocados are absolutely wonderful for you. Go over to the vegetable section and get a wide variety of vegetables. Get a wide variety of the leafy ones, a wide variety of the cruciferous ones. Get a wide variety of all of the different types of vegetables. In the vegetable section, we're going to stick to above ground, less starchy vegetables. So we're going to start avoiding things like potatoes. I mentioned earlier that I had a potato addiction. Okay, potatoes, there's virtually no fiber in a cooked potato. They're causing our glucose to spike. What happens when our glucose spikes? Our insulin spikes. That's a problem. So these are easy ways at the grocery store to start eating better, making better choices at the grocery store. Minimize the highly processed foods, gravitate towards the whole, uncut, minimally processed foods. So if you're at the grocery store, a couple of different ways to see this. If it comes in a box or a bag and has a barcode, it's probably highly processed. Okay. Another way to look at it is the center aisles of the grocery store, probably the highly processed areas. The outer aisles of the grocery store, that's where you'll find the produce section, the dairy section, the meat section, the whole uncut meats, that sort of thing. So great places to start. I want to talk about a supplement that I take for fiber, but I never want to suggest that anybody has to buy a supplement, okay? If you simply do what I just said, that will put you in the right direction. But I want to talk about a supplement because it does matter in my mind. So is there anybody that has any questions about step 3, or are we ready to talk about the supplement? And I guess if you're ready to talk about the supplement, type the word ready, or ask questions about step 3, food ideas, that sort of thing. Is there anybody that has any questions, or are we ready? Sheila, ready. Okay. Uh-oh, it looks like my connection might have just gone bad on me. Oh, there it is. Okay. Looks like Sheila says ready. Lisa says ready. Huggy Bear says ready. Glenn says ready. Okay, guys. Good morning, Rob. How are you, brother? Day number 2 of listening to me, man. Okay. Fiber. Who remembers Rexall Pharmacy? So Rexall Pharmacy is about a 120-year-old company, and about 35 years ago, they developed a blend of fiber. That blend of fiber, we need a wide variety of fiber. You don't just go over and eat apples. You don't just go over and eat lettuce. I said to get a wide variety of all of it. So Rexall Pharmacy saw the need to have multiple types of fiber. In fact, they came up with a product. They had 7 different types of fiber in it, both soluble and insoluble, and then a variety of different types of each. So this little blend of fiber, but at the same time, Rexall Pharmacy saw that our food was becoming less nutritious, and we know this to be true as well. So they thought that vitamin supplementation was going to become a necessity in the years to come. So when they developed this blend of fiber, they also added a multivitamin to it. And it became what was dubbed a fiber and multivitamin combination therapy. It is both. It's a blend of fiber plus a blend of vitamins, okay? Now that little combination right there, that fiber and multivitamin combination, has been studied all over the world. And a couple of places I like to talk about, go to Google and ask Google, what is the top heart hospital in the United States? Google will tell you it is the Cleveland Clinic. Now, why do I talk about I need to share my screen, don't I? I need to be sharing my screen. What was filtered, Tracy? Okay, so go over to Google and ask Google, what is the top heart hospital in the United States? It will tell you the Cleveland Clinic, okay? Cleveland Clinic is the top heart hospital. Now, how many people are listening to me right now that are on a statin medication, a cholesterol-lowering medication? If you are on a cholesterol-lowering medication, type I am, because the Cleveland Clinic studied the same fiber multivitamin combination therapy from Rexall. They studied the exact product from Rexall. And they would go on to conclude that such a product, if taken regularly, could reduce cardiovascular risk on a population basis and potentially decrease the need and or dose for lipid-lowering prescription drugs, aka also known as statins. If you break down this sentence, in fact, such a product, this one right here, if taken regularly, I take it every day, could reduce cardiovascular risk, that's heart disease, on a population basis, that's everybody, and potentially decrease the need and or dose for lipid-lowering prescription drugs, statins. More than 20 years ago, the top heart hospital in the United States was suggesting that there was an alternative to statin medications. Now, the glycemic index, has anybody heard of the glycemic index? If you go to Google and ask Google, who is the home of the glycemic index, it will say the International Glycemic Index database and website are led by Professor Jenny Brand Miller. If you go to glycemicindex.com and hit the About page, it talks about Dr. Jenny Brand Miller. She's an internationally recognized authority on carbohydrates and the glycemic index with over 250 scientific publications. Dr. Jenny Brand Miller knows a thing or two about type 2 diabetes, glycemic control, glucose regulation. That's what she does. Why do I talk about her? Because she too has studied it while at the Department of Biochemistry, School of Molecular Bioscience, Bowden Institute of Obesity, Nutrition and Exercise and Eating, University of Sydney, Australia. In this case, she tested it against white potatoes, mashed potatoes, white bread, and white rice. And in all three cases, it lowered the glycemic index from high to medium. It also lowered the insulin index from high to medium as well. She studied it a second time, and in this study, she found that it lowered both overall blood glucose levels by 20 to 28% and overall blood insulin levels by 13 to 27%. Furthermore, and we're not done yet, let's go talk about the physician's desk reference. That might have been, you might remember that book that was on your doctor's desk years and years ago, the physician's desk reference. It's now available in digital form, the PDR. That same blend of fiber as well as the tea are both in the prescriber's digital reference. That's a place for your doctor to go and look at. And the only way that you get into the PDR is because you've got clinical validation studies like those that were done by Dr. Jenny Brand Miller, the Cleveland Clinic. One final little piece, Dr. Ben Bickman, the world's leading metabolic scientist, is the director of the scientific advisory board for this company. He is the director of the scientific advisory board. So I want to talk a little bit about how to get the products. And then if anybody is interested in how to buy them, let me know I'm interested. Type the word interested. So the products cost about $5.30 per day. Okay, so each packet's about $1.75. You can't buy a tea at a grocery store for $1.75. Okay, and the quality of this is not arguable. So at $1.75, you would get 3 of these for about $5.30 a day. The system costs about $159 per month. It's a 30-day supply of the product. The manufacturer gives you a 90-day money-back guarantee on the product. If after 90 days you're not satisfied, they will give you your money back. All of it. So at $159 with a 90-day money-back guarantee, if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, or if, let me see, if I'm talking to Glenn right now, Glenn, you are unmedicated. You should try this. Okay. You should absolutely try this. You need to do something. You can't just go unmedicated unless you make some pretty drastic changes to your diet, which you should probably do anyway. But, okay. Lynn a Littleton, oh, interesting name. Rob is interested. Okay, guys. So I am live right now. Sally is watching me over on YouTube. We've got a number of people watching me on Twitter. We got a follower on Twitch. And then we've got quite a few people watching on TikTok. So for everybody that's interested, there is a link in my bio on every single page. I'm going to share my Twitter page right now so that my Twitter viewers can see where that link is in my bio for them. So this is my homepage on Twitter, and you will see I'm a competitive barbecue cook who fought the Grim Reaper and won. This is my story. Right below that, it says Linktree/The Healthy Pitmaster. That is the link. If you are on Facebook, if you're on Facebook, this is my homepage on Facebook. You'll scroll down. By the way, on every social media page, I'm The Healthy Pitmaster and at The Real Jim BBQ. If you scroll down a little bit on Facebook, there's the link right there, Linktree/The Healthy Pitmaster. If you are on TikTok, again, at The Real Jim BBQ and The Healthy Pitmaster, there is my bio. I'm a competitive barbecue cook who fought the Grim Reaper and won. This is my story. There is the link, Linktree/The Healthy Pitmaster. When you click that link, it will take you to my link tree. The very first link is the Unicity Feel Great system. When you click that, that is what I'm talking about. This is Unicity's website, guys. You're not buying a thing from me. You're buying it direct from the manufacturer. You are using my wife and I's referral code to get a lifetime discount to Unicity. If you are like me, you're probably thinking, I want to go over to Amazon and just buy it there because I trust them. It's way more expensive. $250, $218, $240. It's way more expensive. And furthermore, it's not an authorized sale. Unicity does not authorize the sale of their products anywhere other than their website. This link right here is going through their website, okay? When you're buying it here, you're buying it direct from them. They are the ones that are fulfilling the order. They are the ones that are then shipping the order to you. Also, when you use that link, you would get me and my wife as a coach. We're going to help you through your lifestyle change. Let's call that your health journey. If you click the buy now, that is a pretty typical online purchasing thing, right? You're going to get two teas per day and 1 balance. That's the fiber per day. You can choose. There's 3 different flavors of the tea. There's lemon ginger, and there's apple spice. Right now, I just finished lemon and apple spice together. I drank the 2 of them together in a 24-ounce mug. Normally, I just drink a lemon by itself, and then I transition into a second one. But today I felt feisty. I put the 2 together. But you can choose lemon or apple spice. You can choose 2 of the apple spices. You can do 2 of the lemons. You can do a lemon, 2 of the lemon gingers, a lemon ginger and an apple spice, or a lemon ginger. You can make choices. It's customizable. In the United States, it's $159. Elsewhere in the world, it's about the same dollar, but in your local currency. I want to point out that this the link in my bio will automatically, it's a smart link, it will automatically convert to your local currency. So if you are watching me in, say, Canada or Mexico or the United Kingdom, or Mel is in Australia, it's available there as well. So wherever you're listening to me from, this link works in about 30 different countries. The products are available in almost 60 countries globally. So it's not a small secret. It's been all over the world for quite a while. So anyway, pretty typical online checkout. If you were curious about the 90-day money-back guarantee, it's right next to the add to cart, right? If you just click that right there. Unicity stands behind its products by offering non-distributor purchases a 100% money-back satisfaction guarantee on field rate. This system. If for any reason within 90 days after your purchase you are dissatisfied with your field rate products, Unicity will, upon your written request, issue you a full purchase price refund. There you go. Okay, so let me go back. This is the field rate link. This is the link in my bio. If you scroll down a little bit, you will see the actual products. The tea is called Unimate. The fiber in in North America, in Europe, in Africa, in South America, it's called Balance. Elsewhere in the world, you may see BioSlife. That's the same thing in Australia. It's called BioSlife C, but it's the same exact thing. Now, if you click on the Learn More, that will tell you all of the ingredients for that product. So Unicity Balance, this is the product information on it. You will find that it's all natural. It's flavored with natural sweeteners. Okay, but you'll also see riboflavin. It's got 150% of your recommended daily intake of riboflavin, 170% of your thiamine, 160% of your niacin, 410% of your B6, 1,040% of your B12. It's a multivitamin alongside the fiber supplement. It's not just a fiber supplement. If you go back to the main page and just scroll down a little further, you will find the science link. If you click that science link, it will redirect you to unicityscience.org. If you click the research tab there, that's where you'll find all of those clinical validation studies that I was talking about. If you want to read a clinical validation study, just hit See Full Study. This one right here is the one that I've referenced from the Cleveland Clinic. If you hit See Full Study, it will take you to that full study. Okay. Up at the top, science team. Unicity is a science-based company putting out a food-based product. This is a science company. This is unicityscience.org. You will find they have 3 PhD level doctorates in the research and development staff. You'll also find the Scientific Advisory Board, where Dr. Ben Bickman is the director of the Scientific Advisory Board. How are you, Tanya? Good morning. Okay, so let me go over to some testimonials, because I think people love testimonials. This is a friend of mine, Ro, who I met through TikTok. Ro came across my live stream about a year ago. She got onto the system, and a couple of weeks on the system, she sent me this text. Hello and good evening. I hate to message you so late. I wanted to give you another testimonial. So I actually ate lunch today, and my baseline was after lunch was 118. Then 1.5 hours, it spiked to 164. Then 30 minutes later, it went down to 123. That's a couple of weeks on this system. Michael, I got to tell you, I went to the doctor yesterday and glucose was 121. It used to be 207. I've lost 15 pounds. I go back in 90 days. So, I mean, he's brand new on the system. Let's see. I love this one. This is Josephine. Hi, Jim. I just received my test results, and there is a huge improvement. I saw my doctor today, and I will be continuing this program and will not be taking any medications at this point. A1C went from 12.5 to 7.9. This was like a month and a half in on the system. My triglycerides were 2,568 and now 284. Still high, but from 2,568. Cholesterol was 348, now 140. still in here or not, but that is Janice. Love hearing Janice have success. I mentioned earlier, so this is Roe. Roe had an A1C that was over 14%. She took the 90-day challenge, and in 90 days, her A1C was 5.9% in 90 days. Over 14 to 5.9% in the 90-day challenge. So if you guys are up for a 90-day challenge, take it. This is Michelle. That is an amazing transformation. That's 7 months. Look at that difference in body. 7 freaking months. Since they got rid of the second fiber, is there any time you would should be in need of the second one? Okay, so Sally, it's a great question. So Sally, are you on the system? I guess I didn't know that. Are you on the system? By the way, this is a Unimate tea that's flavored like salted caramel. If you have a sweet tooth that you want to quench, like this is it. Okay, so Sally asked, since they got rid of the second fiber, here's the deal. Unicity has always talked about 2 great products, 1 practice. It's still 2 great products, 1 practice. It used to be a daily kit would get 1 tea and 2 fibers. Now it is 2 teas and 1 fiber. It's still the same 2 products, 1 great practice. They just put the emphasis on this one. Let me explain why, because there is a lot of confusion around that. And personally, I love the reason why. So 13 years ago, Dr. Jenny Brand Miller studied balance. Specifically, she studied BioSlide. They are one and the same. 13 years ago, Dr. Jenny Brand Miller studied this, and she found that when we consumed this and waited 10 to 15 minutes, it caused a 20% reduction in blood glucose levels. That is a massive number, by the way. To put that into comparison, if you are a 300 glucose, right? If you get done eating and you are a 300 glucose on average, we're just going to pick that number. 20% reduction in blood glucose, which is what Jenny Brand Miller found, would make that 300 to 240. That is a huge number, right? And so for years, Unicity said, hey, that's what we're going to do. We're going to wait 10 to 15 minutes because that's what the University of Sydney, Australia, and Dr. Jenny Brand Miller said worked. Now, with that in mind, we now have continuous glucose monitors, which we didn't really have in July of 2011 when Dr. Jenny Brand Miller did her research. And the continuous glucose monitors really give us added insight, right? And what they have found is that when we consume this immediately before eating, we actually get a 34% reduction at 30 minutes and a 37% reduction at 45 minutes, and then it goes down. 34 to 37% reduction. Now, Dr. Jenny Brand Miller had some pretty amazing results at 15 minutes, but what we know now is that when we consume it immediately before, we're nearly double what Dr. Jenny Brand Miller found. So Unicity is, they've had an amazing product for 35 years. This product's been around for 35 years. And rather than just sitting on their laurels and saying, oh, we're good enough, they are a progressive looking company. They're always looking forward. They're always trying to improve. And they found a better way to consume it, right? So with that research in mind, and then on the backbone of Dr. Ben Bickman's personal research, okay, what Dr. Bickman found was that Unimate increased GLP-1 production by up to 70% during a fasted state. That is absolutely massive. So what do we know about GLP-1? We know that when GLP-1 is increased or when GLP-1 is elevated, glucose and insulin are suppressed. When GLP-1 is elevated, the fat cell shrinks. When GLP-1 is elevated, appetite suppression is better. When GLP-1 is elevated, stomach dumping slows down. All sorts of positive things come from increasing our GLP-1. Those medications, Ozempic, Wegovy, those types of things, they are increasing that GLP-1 to dangerous levels. And we're maintaining those dangerous levels all day long. It's dangerous. What Dr. Bickman is saying is that this one increases our GLP-1 by up to 70% during a fasted state. That's a healthy level. That is a level that we can maintain without danger. So on the heels of Dr. Bickman's research, that we know that this increases GLP-1, which then, of course, reduces appetites, shrinks the fat cell, reduces glucose, reduces insulin, all those positive things. What they've done is chosen to go from 2 of these and 1 of these to 2 of these and 1 of these. So the way that this works now is you wake up in the morning and you drink 1 of these. The way that we've always done it. You just wake up and you consume 1 of these, you'll love it. Unimate will give you an amazing boost of energy. It's an amazing appetite suppressant. Oh, yes, Wegovy is dangerous, Rob. Yeah. Yes. Rob asked, is Wegovy dangerous? Yes. Yes. I'll touch on that in a moment. So this will give you, it's an appetite suppressant. It will give you an amazing boost of energy. It will clear your mind. All of that brain fog, right, will lift. If you suffer from brain fog, right, you walk into a room, and how many of us walk into a room and are like, what was I looking for, right? Gone. We go from that appetite suppressant. Unimate increases ketone production by up to 80%. That's a big part of why that brain fog is going away. It increases GLP-1 production, all sorts of things. And you're going to just feel incredible. When you're done with your tea, you just simply crack open a second one. Start sipping on a second one. What you're going to find is when you get to lunch, because of all of that GLP-1 and all of the appetite suppression that you're getting from the chlorogenic acid in the tea. By the way, I didn't mention this, but there is 10 times the chlorogenic acid of a typical cup of coffee in one of these packets. And if a green coffee bean is the most abundant resource on earth for chlorogenic acid, this has 10 times the chlorogenic acid of a typical cup of coffee, 20 times the chlorogenic acid of a typical cup of yerba mate. It is really, really high in that chlorogenic acid. So, Mel, my brain fog has improved and my vision has improved. That's interesting. As your glucose levels go down, you will see your vision improve. Okay, so you're just going to transition into a second one of these. And when you do that, you're going to find your appetite is lower. You're going to eat less at lunch. It's going to help you extend your fast, so you might eat lunch a little bit faster, all of these positives. When you go to eat your heaviest meal, so if, let's say, you've already got your lunch planned, you're going to have a salad and tuna fish for lunch. That's a really reasonable lunch, right? But at dinner, you're going out with the family and you're going to have spaghetti. You drink your balance immediately before you have your spaghetti, okay? So immediately before your heaviest meal of the day, you're going to drink your balance. I hope that added some clarity to the protocol, how we use this. We pair that with the intermittent fasting, and you'll see wonderful results. Also, guys, something that's really cool, we did it for the first time last night, but every single Wednesday, we do a science ticket. Every single Wednesday, we do a Zoom call. It's typically by invite, the Zoom link. I send out an email every single Wednesday saying, well, this is perfect. So Tracy missed it last night. Last night, Trent, the gentleman who hosts that call, and I collaborated, and we were able to stream that call to my Facebook, my YouTube, my Twitter, and my TikTok. Okay. So it's obviously no longer up on my TikTok. However, if you wanted to watch the science call, you can go to my Facebook page or my Twitter page, any of my social media outlets. Let's go to Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, and you will see, let's see, right here is my Facebook page, just as an example. If you scroll down, There's the live stream that I'm currently doing. I post a lot of content up there, but this call right here, this was the Wednesday call. And in this call, we have medical professionals. In this particular case, it was somebody named Lindsay Venn.
This is a blend of different fibers from different.
Obviously,
Here we go.
Ozempic, the one.
This is Lindsay Venn. Let me get Trent's introduction as to who
So what
Lindsay is.
Questions from experts who are so simple with obesity problems.
Here we go.
Okay. So happy for Ari. And we want to explain exactly how this protocol works and make it super, super simple. This is something that anybody can do. And one of the best things about this protocol is it's not something you have people with obesity. Things for our guests tonight, people that are on the live call. But first, I want to turn the time over to our real special guest for tonight. This is Lindsay Venn. Now, if you're not familiar with Lindsay, Lindsay is one of the founding members for the Metabolic Society for Healthcare Practitioners. Lindsay is somebody that wakes up in the morning every day, puts on her superhero cape, and spends all of her days helping people that are sick, people that are diabetic, pre-diabetic, people with thyroid problems, people with obesity problems.
Lindsay Venn, that's Lindsay. Let's just go over here. Let's go to LINDSEY Venn, insulin IQ. Okay. You can find Lindsay on Twitter. You can find insulin IQ. She is a coach for Dr. Bickman's website, Insulin IQ. She's an absolute, let's see, Venn Integrative Medicine. This is her website, Venn Integrative Medicine. So if you'd like, you can go and watch that video on my Facebook, on my YouTube, or on my Twitter. Dr. Lindsay Venn has Dr. Bickman's phone number in her phone. Okay, so Tracy, you say you missed it. You can go watch it on my Facebook. You can go watch it on my YouTube. You can go watch it on my Twitter. It's up there. And it'll be up there every Wednesday. We're going to start doing that every Wednesday. I can't ever get your live to play on X. Is it? Mickey was just watching it. And actually, I've got quite a few people on Twitter right now that are watching me. Looks like there are 12 people on Twitter that are watching. I wonder if that's just yours, Tanya. But that's cool that Tanya is watching me on YouTube right now. Hi, Tanya. Of course, that's the one I missed. We just talked to her. Yep. Okay, so what question? Is there anybody that wants to order the protocol but does not know how to? And if that is you, then type the word help, and I will know exactly what you're saying. If you type the word help, I'll know that you want to purchase the product, but you don't know how to. So just type the word help if that's you. More than that, ask questions. I'm here for questions. I'm going to wrap this up probably in the next 5 to 10 minutes. So ask questions between now and then. What questions do you have, if any? Also, I will be live again tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Mountain Standard. That is 7:30 Pacific and 10:30 Eastern. 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. 8:30 Mountain. Any questions at all? Did I take 2 Balance the other day before my pizza? Yes, I did. In fact, I also took 2 berberine. I mention all the time that I don't have a problem with berberine. If I'm going to do something stupid like that, get down on some pizza, I had 2 berberine and then I had 2 Balance as well. So yes, love that question. Okay, guys. Doesn't look like anybody's really chiming in with any sort of questions. So I think I'm going to go ahead. Did you see the pizzas we made late last night? I did not see that, Tanya. Did I see the pizzas you made last night? I did not. Were they good? Let me see. I'm trying to do something here at the same time. I'm trying to be graceful, and I'm not great. I'll be called a lot of things in my life. Graceful is not one of them. Brenda, what else do I use from Unicity? A lot. I'm a huge advocate for Unicity. Okay, so it looks like, bear with me. Brenda, I will get to your answer here in just a second. I want to see. Looks like Lenny. Is Lenny listening to me right now? Lenny from Connecticut. Oh, New Jersey. Lenny from New Jersey. Lenny, if you're listening to me from New Jersey, I see your order there, and I will be KKCM. It's worth your health. Yes, it is. You did chicken crust, and yes, they were good. Oh, I love chicken crust pizza. Such an easy recipe. By the way, if you're not giving Tanya a follow right now, she's on YouTube. She's also on TikTok. She's on Facebook. If you're not on, and Tanya, would you put your names in the comments, and then I will share it with everybody here. Okay, what else do you use from Unicity? Great question, Brenda. Right now I'm drinking, this is a crazy drink. I'm drinking the black and the salted caramel and the FX all put together. And I put that with some extra coffee and a little extra splash of Celtic salt. I also, at night, pretty much every night, I drink an Oasis for my skin. I'm out of it right now, but I use the Bone Fortify. The Bone Fortify is high in magnesium, and with a little bit of magnesium, or with a little bit of Celtic salt, and then the Bone Fortify, and I usually mix the Oasis with the Bone Fortify. I'll drink the two together. I am finding that I sleep like a baby. If anybody struggles with sleep, magnesium will help that. In fact, increasing your insulin sensitivity on the whole will benefit that. But man, I'm telling you what, a little bit of Celtic salt, and then I mix the Bone Fortify and the Oasis together, and we're talking like pool of drool in my pillow kind of like sleep. Like I don't wake up throughout the night. It's amazing rest. And like 8 hours, like a long time, just wake up ready to go. So I use those. I do have both the Matcha Focus and the Matcha Energy. They don't make the Focus anymore, so I kind of hold that one back for when I really want that. But the Matcha is similar to the Yerba Mate. The Yerba Mate is South American, and really what they say about the Yerba Mate, the Unimate, is that it helps with mind clarity, right? It lifts the brain fog. Matcha is more of a physical energy thing. So the matcha will get you going. I do have the Life Fiber here. I've done the cleanse. I'm actually going to order the cleanse. I'm going to do another cleanse here at the beginning of the month in May. What else do we use? I'm a big fan of pretty much all of their products. Never heard of that. Sheila, you have a wonderful day. Yes, Rob. Oh, you've never heard of Oasis, Tracy? How is that possible? Okay, I see more questions coming in. Sheila, you have a wonderful day, by the way. Okay, so Rob says balance is not the tea, right? Balance, the tea is Unimate. Yes. Rob, the tea is called Unimate. The balance is the fiber. And you'll get, in the kit, you'll get 60 of the teas, so 2 a day, and 30 of the fibers. What does berberine do? Berberine, without going too much into the weeds, it's kind of referred to as the all-natural version of metformin. Okay, it looks pill form, similar to metformin. So I don't supplement daily with berberine, but if I'm going to have a stupid meal like pizza, or if I'm going to go out for pasta or something, if I'm going to go for, my wife and I love sushi. So oftentimes I will go and get sushi, and what comes with sushi is white rice, right? So I will take berberine prior to that, and it just helps regulate your glucose. Yes, I do use that. Brenda, you're welcome. Balance says it thickens in your stomach. Exactly. Yes, Rob. Balance does thicken in your stomach. Rob, do you remember Orange Julius? Anybody remember Orange Julius, the company? There she is. Okay, if you're not giving Tanya a follow on TikTok, give her a follow on TikTok. Well, we've got quite a following on YouTube as well as Twitter right now. That's pretty awesome. And I've got one follower on Twitch. If you're the one person on Twitch right now, do me a favor and say hi. I know that I'm gaining followers on Twitch, which is really a place that I wasn't expecting to gain followers, but I think I'm up to, it's not a whole lot, but I think I'm up to 11 or 12 or something like that on Twitch. Okay. You've never heard of the chicken crust. Pretty simple recipe. Okay. Take a pound of ground chicken, a single egg, and a half cup of Parmesan. Mix that all together. You can add, some Italian seasoning or something like that to it. Add that all together and put it onto a pizza sheet. Add a little bit of parchment flavor or a parchment paper. Add it on there, smear it out to the shape of a pizza crust. You'll bake that off, and when it's done baking, it'll become hard, similar to pizza crust. Add your pizza sauce, your cheese, whatever your toppings are. Voila, chicken crust pizza. Now, I married a pizza snob from New Jersey, and we love our pizza. When we went out the other day, I've got a good friend of mine named Greg Shope, who owns Shope's Pizza here in the Colorado Front Range. If you're here in Colorado, Shope's Pizza, it's phenomenal pie. Absolutely delicious pie. And it's East Coast. It's the closest thing we can get locally to East Coast pizza. We are snobs with pizza, okay? So chicken crust is not the same as that. However, when we do eat pizza crust or chicken crust pizza, I don't feel like I'm being deprived. And that's always been a big thing for me. And maybe you feel the same way. That what sucks about some of these diets, right, is you feel like you're being deprived of something. Like, I just wish I could have the regular stuff. Well, the regular stuff got you sick. So if from time to time when you want pizza, right, maybe try a chicken crust pizza. If you want pizza once a week, maybe do chicken crust 4 weeks in a row and then do real pizza the 5th week, something like that. We'll do that with Tanya also. By the way, if you're not giving Tanya a follow, Tanya does post a lot of videos on cooking recipes, and I love some of the things that she's doing. One of my favorite ones that she does is avocado bread. Again, not something I feel like I'm sacrificing at all. It's bread that's made out of avocados, which we should be getting a ton of avocado anyway. So it's an easy way. It's very filling. I will make a Reuben using that avocado bread. Talk about low carb, high fat. It's a wonderful recipe, starting with her avocado bread. So if you're not giving Tanya a follow, you should. Also, Tanya's doing live streams every single day. Jump in on her live streams. I love the way that she delivers the information. In fact, Tanya, can I share my link with you? Can I invite you? Would you join me? Okay. What questions do we have? Does anybody have any questions? Oh, you're in a restaurant. Okay. Yes, of course. I wasn't keeping up with the comments there. Let me see. Let's see. Long ago. Okay. Rob, you did answer my question. I'm sorry. My comment thing was off a little bit. It wasn't keeping up with me. You did have Orange Julius long ago. That's what this tastes like. It tastes like Orange Julius. And personally, I used to love the flavor of Orange Julius. If you've never had Orange Julius, some people say it tastes like an orange dreamsicle. I never had one of those, but I guess it tastes like an orange dreamsicle. Orange Julius, that sort of thing. It's absolutely delicious. And Rob, I know that you're in a situation. So Rob, you say that your wife is on Wegovy. I want to talk about that really quick, okay? I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm going to go to Google, and we're going to type in Wegovy. And I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to go to Wegovy.com. This is their website. I'm going to get rid of that. I don't want that. And you will see at the very bottom of their website, important safety information. Wegovy may cause serious side effects, including possible thyroid tumors, including cancer. Did you know that? And if your wife is on Wegovy, Wegovy is a semaglutide. There is another form of semaglutide. There are two other forms. There is Ozempic, and there is Rybelsus is the oral form of both of those. Now, Ozempic was developed to help treat type 2 diabetes. These are glucagon-like peptide 1 receptor agonists. Let's go over to the PDR. Okay, I'm going to type in here pdr.net. There it is, the prescriber's digital reference. I don't know if Wegovy will pop up in here. It may or it may not. If it doesn't, Ozempic will. But let's look at Wegovy. Nope, it doesn't. So let's type in Ozempic. That's the same thing, just a slightly lesser dose prescribed for type 2 diabetes. It is a semaglutide. So let's scroll down. We'll hit the summary. And we will look at, well, I mean, there's classes, administration, adverse reactions. That's something that you'd probably want to look at. Boxed warning: medullary thyroid carcinoma, multiple endocrine neoplasma syndrome type 2, and thyroid cancer, thyroid C-cell tumors. That's the boxed warning on this thing. But adverse reaction, retinopathy, blindness, appendicitis, pancreatitis, kidney failure. Nasty, right? Okay, so let's go over to, I'm going to go to my TikTok page. And I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and I want to go to a video that I duetted a little while ago. I just showed you Lindsay Venn. Okay, this is Lindsay Venn, a physician's assistant, a certified diabetes educator. Where is it at? Physician's assistant, a certified diet. She's a registered dietitian. Lindsay Venn, here she is. She is more than qualified to talk about Ozempic, the GLP-1s. This is her. No, it's not. Okay, let's try a new TikTok. Okay, I'm going to scroll down. I don't know why that didn't just start playing, but let me scroll down. Here it is.
As you can see, I'm still at work. It's been one of those days, kind of a long day, but I do think it's quite funny. I had at least 4 patients today ask me about Ozempic and what I thought about it. And I'm going to tell you real quickly, it's the same thing I tell everybody. It is not worth doing. Obviously, patient autonomy means something to me, so if a patient insists, we'll go ahead and go that direction. But based on all the research and everything we know, I just think the side effects outweigh the benefits, and again, we just don't know long-term what's going to happen to these people. You do not want to be that person who loses a whole bunch of weight and then gains it back, who becomes a hyperplastic fat storer versus a hypertrophic, and you certainly don't want to lose 30 to 40% of your muscle mass that you've worked so hard to get on. So that's my recommendation. Repeated it multiple times today. Have a good weekend.
So a couple things that we need to talk about that she just said. You don't want to become a hyperplastic fat storer instead of a hypertrophic. Did you hear her say that? What is that? Hypertrophic fat storer. This is the idea that you were born with a finite amount of fat cells. You had the same amount of fat cells when you were born as you have today, right? Hyperplastic is the ability to create more fat cells. And so the hyperplastic fat stores are these people that are like 600 pounds, right? They are their bodies, they have the ability to develop more fat cells. So they have more, right? Now hypertrophic, what they're saying, what her and Dr. Bickman and these people are saying is that they are shrinking the fat cell so fast that your body needs to compensate and help pick up that metabolic burden. And to do so, it is creating more fat cells. It is converting people from hypertrophic fat store to hyperplastic. Another term for hyperplastic, hyperplasia. Now, if your wife is on Wegovy, that is the weight loss version of Ozempic. So I'm assuming she has a weight problem, or in her mind, I'm not trying to be rude or anything there, but I'm assuming that's why she's on it. Did she know that she is, in fact, developing more fat cells by using it? The other thing she talked about there was lean muscle mass and bone mass. She's losing muscle mass and her bone mass. And there is, you go to listen to Dr. Ben Bickman talk about it, but people are losing bone mass. Now, if you are a young man, you may be able to regain that bone mass loss. But Bickman would say that if you are a woman of any age, your odds of developing that or regaining that bone mass are slim to none. That's going to lead to osteoporosis and some nasty things down the road. Furthermore, GLP-1, glucagon-like peptide 1, helps slow down your stomach dumping. So when we increase GLP-1, it slows down your stomach dump. We want to be in that 4 to 6 hours. And I get this from Ben Bickman, by the way. We want to be in that 4 to 6 hours. A metabolically sick person might be doing their stomach dumping in an hour, right? Something way too quick. And so when we elevate GLP-1, it slows down the stomach dumping. What Bickman says is that Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, they are slowing it down too much, like 24 to 48 hours, to the point of sometimes if somebody who is on one of those medications, they burp, it might smell awful, like rotting food, because there is rotting food sitting in their gut for at times 24 to 48 hours. That problem can develop into something called gastroparesis, which is a paralyzing of the stomach muscle. And that was on Good Morning America. It's been a little while ago, but this video in my video feed is talking about exactly that.
Being used for weight loss like Ozempic are making headlines again. ABC News medical contributor Dr. Darian Sutton is here with a reality check. Good morning, Dr. Sutton. Always love having you. So there are reports of people experiencing so-called stomach paralysis. What is that? And what should we know about these side effect claims?
So good morning, Janae. So stomach paralysis associated with these medications, Ozempic and Wegovy. So one of the methods that these medications work is that they slow the rate at which food empties out of the stomach, or they have something called gastric delay. This helps with feelings of fullness and helping to suppress appetite. Now we're seeing these isolated reports of patients who are suffering from stomach muscle paralysis, where food cannot empty out of the stomach. We define this as called gastroparesis, and it can be associated with symptoms of abdominal pain, bloating, acid reflux or GERD, and severe nausea and vomiting. And Janae, I've taken care of patients who suffer from this diagnosis. It is absolutely brutal. Patients often come in with severe dehydration and electrolyte abnormalities. And
I think you get the point, right? It is what. Now let's go back to my TikTok again. So, and actually, I want to go to the PDR. Let's go to the PDR. Coming back here, this is semaglutide. This is Ozempic. It's the same thing as Wegovy and Rybelsus. Okay, if you go to the classes, it will say glucagon-like peptide 1 receptor agonist. It's helping your body increase GLP-1. Okay, if you go back to my videos, you will see a duet that I did recently with a person, a wonderful human named Sheridan. It's this one right here. It says, "This natural GLP-1 is how I reversed my type 2 diabetes."
Okay, a lot of people are into these Ozempic and weight loss drugs. If you're on or considering them, you might want to watch this. I don't know if you follow Dr. Andrew Huberman, but he was just on Joe Rogan and he was basically saying, why take Ozempic when you can do the same thing naturally with no side effects using yerba mate?
Turns out humans make GLP-1. GLP-1 is stimulated by things like yerba mate tea. Certain other compounds, plant compounds, stimulate its release. But what does it do in the hypothalamus? It suppresses hunger.
This is the highest, most concentrated version of yerba mate I've found on the planet. And one of the top scientists in the world when it comes to insulin resistance did a study on this yerba mate.
That I'll be sharing at a meeting in March in Las Vegas is that this yerba mate supplement called Unimate also increases GLP-1. We found in this experiment we did, the GLP-1 levels went up by about 70% in a fasted state, which is pretty considerable.
This does the same thing naturally. No side effects, no drawbacks. Whereas Ozempic has gastroparesis, thyroid cancer, and some crazy, scary side effects. Plus, it just keeps going up in price and it's getting harder and harder to find. So this is what I've used to control my blood sugar, reverse my insulin resistance, and lose weight. I drink the yerba mate every morning in place of breakfast. I don't feel hungry, I don't crave food, gives me energy and brain clarity. And then before every meal, I take this fiber matrix. Controls my blood sugar, carbs, and cholesterol, and is literally the easiest thing in the world. So instead of doing Ozempic or those other weight loss drugs and putting yourself at risk, try doing it naturally. I have the discount link that I use on my profile, and it's about $5 a day, which will actually probably save you money. And it has a 90-day money-back guarantee. Okay, a lot of people...
So that discount link in the profile, she has the same thing, right? So this right here, Linktree / the Healthy Pitmaster. If you click that, that will take you to my Linktree. The very first thing is the Unicity Field Grade System. Rob, so here's the deal, Rob. Both you, what's up, Casey? How are you, brother? How are you, man? Casey's my guy. Talked to Casey last night. Rob, you and your wife, I believe, Rob, you said that you have a glucose problem, correct? You've been type 2 diabetic, and I think you said yesterday that you have a bit of a weight problem too. You could directly benefit from this system. Here is the way that this works. You get on the system, you will then get your own discount link. The referral link that you're using through me, right? Pre-diabetic. Okay. You would use my referral link. I would get credit for your referral. What you would then do is give your wife your referral link, and your wife would sign up under you, and you would get a referral discount. That's the way that this works, man. So my wife and I have been, I'm going to say, tag teaming this thing for a little over a year together. We're both on the system. We hold each other accountable. I know that Casey's in my comment section right now. Casey and his wife do the same thing. You'll see RRWife08. Her name is Tracy. Her husband is Mike. They are doing the protocol together. I think it's wonderful when husband and wife do this together. They help hold each other accountable. And what's happening is you are attacking this thing all naturally. Oh, there it is. Tanya and her husband are doing it together as well. So what happens is you're holding each other accountable and you're addressing this all naturally. You're doing this with all natural plant-based products. Boy, we've got quite a few people listening from quite a few different platforms. I'm going to go ahead and show everybody the link in the bio. Okay, I just showed. If you go to, if you're on TikTok, by the way, whatever platform you're watching me on right now, give me a follow and hit notify when I go live. Okay. But on all platforms, you can find me by searching The Real Jim BBQ, The Real Jim BBQ, or The Healthy Pitmaster. Okay. In every platform, you will see my bio. My bio says I'm a competitive barbecue cook who fought the Grim Reaper and won. This is my story. And then you will see my link. Now, I don't care if you're on Facebook or Twitter. This is my link on Twitter. You'll see The Healthy Pitmaster at The Real Jim BBQ. My exact same bio. I'm a competitive barbecue cook who fought the Grim Reaper and won. and the link. There is the link right there. Now, when you click the link, it will take you here. That's my link tree. The very first link is the manufacturer's website, okay? Click that link. Oh, dang it. I didn't share this. Ha, what an idiot. I'm sorry. What I was saying was, here's my Twitter. You'll see the Healthy Pit Master at the Real Gym BBQ. I'm a competitive barbecue cook. That's my story in one. That is the link. Okay. If you click that, that will open up this. You'll see Unicity Field Grade System. That is that's Unicity's website, guys. That's the cheapest place to buy it. No markups. What you are doing is, Rob, like I was saying, you're using my wife and I's referral link to get a lifetime discount to the product. So for anybody that's interested in buying the product, that's how you do it. Rob, absolutely, brother. And don't hesitate to reach out to me with any questions. And that's the same on any platform. Anybody who's listening to me right now on any platform, if you have any questions at all, don't ever hesitate. Reach out to me. That's what I do. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this live stream up. All the socials, right? All the social media platforms. I'm on every social. If you can think of one, I'm on it. Now, how active I am on it, that varies. There's a lot of them out there. Small town. Wonderful. You know what you can do, small town, is, are you on Facebook? Are you on Facebook, small town? And I would encourage you, anybody who's listening to me, give me a follow on every major social media platform that you are on. If you're on Facebook, I'm there. If you're on Instagram, I'm there. Right now, this live stream is on Instagram. Right now, this live stream is on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, DL Live. So you are. Okay. So small town. Here you go. I'm going to show you this real quick. Let me see. This is my Facebook page. Okay. Again, the Healthy Pit Master. It's at the Real Gym BBQ. And if you scroll down, there is the link right there in the main page. I don't know if you can see this or not. Of course, I'm not sharing it again. God, I'm an idiot. Okay, let's try this again. At the Real Gym BBQ, the Healthy Pit Master. If you scroll down, you will see there is my bio. I'm a competitive barbecue cook who fought the Grim Reaper and won. If you scroll down a little bit, there is my link tree. You'll see the link tree right there. Linktree / the Healthy Pit Master. What you can do, small town, is this right here is the live that I'm currently doing. If you want to watch this live in its entirety, go click on this. If you want to watch the live from yesterday, you can watch the live from yesterday. There it is right there. If you want to watch the science call that we did last night, this is the science call. That is with Lindsay Venn, a physician's assistant. She's a certified diabetes educator. She is a partner in insuliniq.com. She is more than qualified to talk about this. If you want to watch that video, go right there. If you decide you want to order the product, that link tree / the Healthy Pit Master. The other thing, guys, is I am going to personally reach out to you with my personal phone, this phone right here. I'm going to call you from, I'm not going to call you, I'm going to send you a text with some directions right away on things to do. If you order the product, I see that there's one person that's ordered it so far today. I'm going to send you a text that's got a number of videos to watch. Go watch those videos. I'm going to suggest you join another Facebook group that's got like 16,000 members in it right now. Go and follow that group. They are all like-minded. We've got doctors, physicians, assistants, nurses, endocrinologists. We've got a lot of people in that group. And then a lot of people that are just like you that want to get metabolically healthy. They're trying to get healthy the all-natural way. So what you're gonna do is find yourself in a a community of people who are all like-minded, trying to get healthy. Okay. And best of all, guys, here's the deal. Unicity offers a 90-day money-back guarantee. If you are on those medications, if you just feel like you're losing, if you're not getting healthier, if you're losing this battle, you're sliding down a slippery slope and not winning, right? If you feel like the next time you go to the doctor, you're going to get another handful of pills. If you feel like the handful of pills that you're already taking aren't working, try something different. Why not try this? If it works, wonderful. If it doesn't work, ask them for a refund. They will give you all of your money back. Now, they're not promising that. Let me want to be clear. Unicity does not promise that you're going to come off of all your medications. That's a ridiculous claim to make. However, they do guarantee your satisfaction. If you're not completely satisfied with the product after 90 days, and that's a pretty broad spectrum comment, right? Completely satisfied with their product after 90 days, ask for a refund. They'll give it all back. What you'll find is there are a lot of people like me, like Tanya, like Tracy, like a lot of people in these live streams who are getting healthy. They are reversing things that they thought were chronic and progressive, right? Things like type 2 diabetes. We've got people like Michelle, who has lost, Michelle's down 67 inches in her body measurements. That is absolutely ridiculous. Down 67 inches in her body. That's almost 6 feet. 6 feet in body measurements. That is ridiculous. So you will find that you're going to find yourself into this community. So give it a shot. What have you got to lose? What have you got to lose? Okay. Looks like on TikTok, we're at 22,500 likes. That's pretty awesome. 8 shares. I can't see how many new followers there are, but generally there's quite a few. Oh, I can, I bet. I bet you if I went over here, I could. I'm curious how many new followers there are. That's not updating. Let's try that again. One new follower. That's curious. Okay. Well, I don't think that's right, but okay. We'll go with one new follower. I do have a message request from Rob. Oh, I see that. Okay. Rob, if you're still listening to me, I will be responding to you here shortly. Guys, hop on the system. You got none to lose. Have a wonderful day. I do a live stream, by the way, every single day at 8:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. That is 7:30 Pacific, 9:30 Central, 10:30 Eastern. If you're enjoying this content, if you think that this, more than anything, if you think this is something that should be pushed out to more people, then jump in my live stream tomorrow and tap the likes and tell TikTok that you think they should be sharing this with more people.